Chapter 600. Ah, sure Sway, you must be Bodhisattva. Go higher, go higher. I don't lack this bit of traffic. Look at his waist, abs, and Apollo's belt. My Xianxia sure Sway has such a good figure. The audience only saw sure Sway's figure, but Li Jinyu saw more through the camera. Why do I feel that Daddy Sure is a little coquettish today? Li Jinyu turned to ask Ruan Qing, who was beside him. Ruan Qing was wearing a camel-colored coat and looked very elegant. She handed Li Jinyu a cup of hot coffee and said with a smile, "Maybe it's the childish desire of men to compare? What the hell? Why are we men so childish? How can we compare?" Ruan Qing played with the card that was given to her by the takeout restaurant. There had been a small promotion at this coffee shop recently where customers would receive a card for ordering coffee. After opening the packaging, each card was different. Many people would order coffee in order to collect a set of cards, such as Li Jinyu and the photographer Old Zhang. She said calmly, "I heard that Old Zhang has already collected 9 cards, one more than you." Li Jinyu said, "What did you say? Damn it. How can I tolerate this? I can't. Come on, order me 2 more cups of coffee. I must surpass him and collect all the cards as soon as possible." Ruan Qing smiled without saying anything. Huh, man. It turned out that although Li Jinyu was a fool, he had good taste. Sure Sway went to take a shower. When he appeared on camera again, he was obviously more exquisite than usual. The pure black satin shirt outlined his tall and slender figure, which was tucked into his trousers a little, making him look lazy and casual. His hair was no longer casually blown or air-dried like before. Instead, it was all tucked behind his forehead and fixed with wax, revealing his handsome and deep facial features. He had changed his glasses into a retro style with a golden chain behind his ears. The light in the room mixed with a gentle glaze on his chiseled face. Originally, he was already attractive enough in casual and home clothes. Today, he had dressed up so meticulously that the comments section of the live stream was full of screams. Ascetic Sure Sway is done. His lips are so good this early in the morning. I can't take it anymore. I want to slide on the bridge of my brother's nose. I want to swing on my brother's eyelashes. I want to swim on my brother's collarbone. I want to play hide-and-seek in his abs. He looked in the direction of Xiangyi's room and frowned. The little girl had a very regular schedule and rarely slept in. At this time, she should have woken up. Was he sick? Sure Sway was a little worried, so she gently asked the female staff to check the bedroom. As soon as the staff left, there was a commotion outside the door. "Sister E, are you home? Sister E, Sister E, we're here. Sister E, I brought you a present." They were noisy, but young and lively. Sure Sway opened the door and was greeted with the sight of 7 or 8 teenagers dressed in black uniforms. There was a double-headed arrow symbol on the left side of their chests, which seemed to be a symbol of logic. When they saw Sure Sway, the teenagers instantly fell silent. They were like primary school students who saw their teacher. They stood at attention unconsciously, and some of them hurriedly adjusted their curled hair. Standing on the far left was Xiangyi's 4th brother, Xianxia. The teenager was wearing a cap and looked tired. "Good morning, this is Sure Sway, Big Brother Sure. Big Brother Sure, these are my teammates on the team." The audience exclaimed. It's a large-scale concubine selection. She may be late, but she won't be absent. Chapter 601. There were a total of 4 official players and 4 substitutes in Team Logic. When they heard that they could come to Xiangyi's house today, they all scrambled to come. They were even more enthusiastic about the competition. Xianxia asked, "Where's my sister?" Sure Sway answered, "She's still sleeping." Xianxia was dumbfounded. The expression in his eyes changed instantly, and he stared at Sure Sway as if he was looking at a beast. Sure Sway raised her eyebrows and couldn't be bothered to explain. She made way for the children to enter. At present, the oldest person in the team was the captain, Wander, who was 22 years old, followed by Xianxia, who was 21 years old. Most of the other players were between 16 and 20 years old. The esports industry was very realistic and cruel. The professional careers of the players were usually not too long. The usually arrogant and unruly Xianxia in the game were all extremely obedient at this moment. They didn't even dare to eat the fruits that Shui handed them. Xianyu vaguely heard two people whispering to each other. Would Shui poison the fruits? I don't think so. Xianyu heaved a sigh of relief, only to hear the latter half of the sentence hesitantly and cautiously. He wouldn't poison them with a strong poison, would he? It could be said that they were very humble. At this moment, the female staff member from before hurried out of Xiangyi's room and said anxiously, "Why isn't Sistery waking up? Could she have fainted?" Shui's expression changed slightly. At this moment, he couldn't care less about the differences between men and women and gentlemanly etiquette. He strode into Xiangyi's room. Xianyu also rushed in. In the bedroom, by the bed, little Shiji raised its front paws and barked while leaning against the edge of the bed. Seeing Shui enter, it rubbed its head against Shui's trousers and whimpered twice. Shui stroked the back of the little Shiba Inu's neck and looked at Xiangyi. The girl was covered with a thin blanket and sleeping soundly. Her breathing was light and even, and she didn't seem to be abnormal at all. Sister. Xiangyu panicked and recalled that his sister seemed to have changed into a different person after waking up from a nap a year ago. He immediately broke out in cold sweat. However, she was like a sleeping beauty in a fairy tale. No matter how much Xiangyu shouted or shook her, she didn't react at all. Shui took a deep breath and forced herself to calm down. His eyes locked onto Xiao in the girl's arms. The little cat also fell into a deep sleep, its furry tail hooked onto Xiangyi's wrist. The human and the cat seemed to have been cursed. In the living room, the cameraman didn't go in. He only took pictures of the reactions of the members of Team Logic in the living room. She could tell that her younger brothers were really worried about Xiangyi. However, there were some haters who didn't care about the time and place and continued to spew nonsense. Who knows if she's faking it or not? Why did she have to faint now, of all times? Wasn't she fine yesterday? She fainted just like that today. What a joke. Isn't she trying to seduce Shuringdi into her bedroom on purpose? If a woman used this trick, she would definitely be called a white lotus. The spicy tutor girls were so angry that they retorted on the spot. Are you blind? Sistery works so hard every day. Can't you see? Watch your words. Who hasn't felt uncomfortable at times? Celebrities are humans too, okay? Shuringdi's legs are on his body. Did he walk in on his own, or did someone put a knife to his neck and make him go in? There were also some fans of the untimely CP who were secretly excited. Candy. It's Candy. At the same time, Xiangyi saw a familiar interface in her days. Hello, I'm System Number 1018. I'm at your service. Chapter 602. A question mark slowly appeared on top of Xiangyi's head. This was very fascinating. She looked down and saw her almost transparent hands. It was dark all around, with the occasional flickering of silver light, as if they were floating in the vast universe. Beside her, Xiao was also fascinated. The little cat flapped its little paws in the air, squatted on Xiangyi's shoulder, and roared at the system. Meow, 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 meow. Our stupid woman is almost through, idiot. Number 1018 was equipped with a cat language translator and was stunned after hearing this. Almost through? Wait a moment. I need to send back to the main system's database to check. There was silence all around. Number 1018 left. Xiangyi hugged Xiao and pinched its little face. Don't be angry, little baby. If you get angry again, you won't be the world's most handsome big tiger anymore. Xiao's fur exploded in anger. Meow meow. How could there be such a thing? Xiangyi had already completed all the fast transmigration missions. How could they rebind her to the system? Although Xiao was ignorant, it also knew that fast transmigration was actually a very difficult thing. Life and death, mutual deception, and all the people and things that one cared about would eventually become memory fragments. It made one doubt whether one really existed. Xiangyi, don't be afraid. Maybe there's just a bug somewhere. At the mention of bugs, Xiao suddenly realized that the world Xiangyi was in seemed to be getting more and more abnormal. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be any fast transmigrators in this plane, but there were Lingyi, Qin Wanyin, and Shui, who had a very strange aura. What was going on? It meowed softly and rubbed against Xianxi's arms, feeling a little uneasy. After waiting for a few minutes, number 1018's voice sounded, "I'm back, host." After checking, there are no records of your fast transmigration. Xiao Naofu. Meow, meow, meow. How could there be no records? It had clearly been with Xiangyi the whole time. Xiangyi remained calm. Are you sure? Yes. Xiangyi nodded. Okay, I got it. Number 1018 was a little surprised. Although it was only an intern system, it had heard its seniors talk about the reactions of the hosts when they learned that they were about to start transmigrating. Some people were wild with joy, some were incomparably resistant, and some broke down and cursed. But it seemed that no one was as calm as Xiangyi. However, number 1018 also brought good news. However, I also found out the identity of this stupid cat. It is indeed the reincarnation of the system. Number 1018 had human-like thoughts and emotions. It could not understand how such a childish system could exist. Was it spoiled by the host? He was so envious. Xiao Naofu. Meow, meow, meow. Who are you calling stupid? Also, this Hu is not a cat. No, show some respect. Number 1018 said bluntly. But according to my scan, you are a cat. Xiangyi covered Xiao Naofu's ears. I'm not listening. Tortoise chanting. Number 1018. Xiao Naofu whined in a childish voice and pouted, obviously throwing a tantrum. Suddenly, number 1018 said, Host, I have received instructions from the main system. Due to a bug, you can temporarily not transmigrate, but you need to complete the beginner's mission. Ding, please complete the mission for this dimension's male lead. Sure sway. Requirement. Marriage. After completion, you will receive a generous reward. Xiangyi, what? When did your system have a marriage-urging function? I've been chosen as the lucky goose. I have to get up at 5:30 tomorrow morning to raise the national flag. Noanyuan should go to bed first. Try to update early tomorrow _ smiley face angle _ good night. Chapter 603. She was silent for a few seconds and caught the main point. She narrowed her beautiful doe eyes and asked, the male lead of this dimension? Host, in fact, your world is a bubble world derived from a book. As the male lead, Sure Sway has the strongest luck and male lead halo. In layman's terms, he has countless golden fingers. Do you need me to download the content for you? Download. Soon, a book titled Best Actor in the Entertainment Industry appeared in front of Xiangyi. This was a standard novel for men. The male lead, Sure Sway, leveled up, honed his acting skills, and finally became the best actor in the entertainment industry. Xiangyi flipped through the book. Because Sure Sway in the book was misogynistic, he didn't have any emotional scenes from beginning to end. As for her name, it only briefly appeared in the book, Xiangyu's little niece, a childhood friend, and the little girl next door. Other than that, there was nothing else. Xiangyi was in a trance for a moment. So, her world was just a book? Everything that could be called fate was just an understatement by someone else? Was it Zhuangzhou dreaming of a butterfly, or was it a butterfly dreaming of Zhuangzhou? Was everything real, or was it just a dream? But it was only for a moment. Xiangyi calmed down. So what if it was a world in the book? To her, the world was real, her family was real, and Sure Sway was also real. There was no doubt. There was no need to doubt. I understand. Xiangyi nodded. Can we go back now? Number 1018 was a little surprised, but he didn't show it. She was actually so determined. He was afraid that the main system wouldn't be able to fool her with the male lead halo of the book world. The official said politely, Yes, please wait for a moment. The private doctor arrived in time to check on Xiangyi. Maybe she's too tired, or maybe it's because of psychological reasons. Judging from her vital signs, she couldn't find anything unusual. Seeing that everyone was so nervous, she suggested, Why don't we send Miss Yang to the hospital for a full body checkup? As soon as she said that, the girl on the bed, her thick eyelashes fluttered and she slowly opened her eyes. Sister. Xiangyu half knelt in front of the bed and grabbed her hand. Xiangyi coughed twice, her voice a little hoarse. Brother. The word brother made Xiangyu's heart fall to the ground. Xiangyi's gaze passed him and fell on Sure Sway behind him. The gray satin shirt looked both classy and exquisite. His originally meticulously combed hair was now slightly messy, falling over his deep brow bones. Little Shiji pressed his head against his leg, his eyes full of tears. The man and the dog looked extremely pitiful. Xianxia suddenly felt a lump in her throat. "I'm fine," she said. "It's good that you're okay. It's good that you're okay." Xianxia was extremely relieved. Xiao Naofu also slowly woke up, cupping Xianxi's chest and acting coquettishly. Shui picked up the stupid cat. Xiao Naofu flailed its claws in the air in protest. The man asked gently, "Sister E, are you hungry? What do you want to eat? Preserved egg and lean meat porridge with youtiao?" "Sure, Sui. Then I'll order takeout for you." In the next second, the system prompt sounded in her mind. "Ding, please ask Sure Sui to make breakfast for you. You'll receive 100 points after completion." Xianxia closed the mission bar expressionlessly. "Our boyfriend is meant to be pampered, not to be cooked." Number 1018. Why does this host seem a little rebellious? Chapter 604. But host, this is your mission. Please answer a question for me first. Is the result, or the process, the most important thing in a mission? The result. Then, no matter what method I use, is it logically feasible to get the same result? Yes. Okay, you can shut up now. Number 1018. Why is the host so cold? Haha, Xiao Naofu sneered mercilessly. Little trash. Our stupid woman doesn't need a noob system like you." Xianxia didn't hesitate to order number 1018 around. She directly connected Xiao Naofu to the channel and shared the cat language translator function with it. Number 1018. "This hateful stupid cat, how dare it mock me?" In the kitchen, Xianxia changed into a thin apricot-colored sweater with a white half-skirt, looking gentle and soft. She poured porridge that had been simmering for a few hours with a timer function into several casseroles, then added century eggs, lean meat, shiitake mushrooms, shredded ginger, and other ingredients before slowly stirring them with a wooden spoon. When the dough was almost fermented, Xianxia added some salt and pepper, kneaded it, and then cut it into medium-sized batches. She stacked them in groups of 2, dipped her chopsticks in water, and gently pressed them on top of each other. She then placed the batches into a pot of hot oil and fried them. After a while, they gradually turned into fluffy, fragrant, and crispy fried dough sticks. The fragrance wafted out through the crack in the door. After a while, Wander couldn't help but squat at the door, followed by Xiaoyang, Shui, and Song Song. After frying a pot, Xianxia fished it out, dripped some oil, and opened the door, ready to call the children to try the freshly cooked fried dough sticks. However, she found a group of children squatting at the door like they were growing radishes. The girl was obviously stunned for 2 seconds. This scene made the viewers in the livestream laugh. Sister E is dumbfounded. JPG, shocking. The 8 players of Team Logic actually did such a thing. Ha! The little boys squatting in a row waiting for food are so cute. I want to pinch their cheeks one by one. Xianxia paused for a moment and said, "The fried dough sticks are the best when they're fresh out of the pot. Do you guys want to try it first?" All right. Xianxia originally thought that the big pot would be enough to taste, but she didn't expect that this group of children would be like reincarnated hungry wolves, gobbling it up like a whirlwind. He was indeed a half-grown kid who ate until his father was poor. After the children finished eating, they all looked at Xianxia innocently. "Sister E, did we eat too much?" As the captain, Wander was quite embarrassed. Their team members were all night owls. They usually didn't eat breakfast. However, the deep-fried dough sticks that Xianxia fried were simply too delicious. Not only were they fragrant and soft, but they also had a faint milky fragrance. The freshly cooked deep-fried dough sticks were also not overly greasy. It tasted completely different from takeout. It doesn't matter. I'll fry another pot, and the porridge will be almost ready. Later, I'll eat it with porridge and side dishes. It's not good to eat only fried things, Xianxia said softly and lowered her head to continue frying the deep-fried dough sticks. Without needing her instructions, the children automatically cleared the table and took the bowls and chopsticks. They even fought to scoop up the kimchi and scoop up the eggs. Seeing this, the coaches at the base twitched their mouths. The little brats, who usually wouldn't even pick up the oil kettle at the base, were now so diligent at going to Xiangyi's house. Xiangyi moved quickly. In the blink of an eye, she had fried 2 pots of deep-fried dough sticks. She shouted softly, "It's time to eat. Go wash your hands." In an instant, the esports players of Team Logic all obediently lined up in front of the sink. Yes, yes, we'll listen to Sister E. Chapter 605. Xiangyi said, "Use hand sanitizer to wash them properly." The children were very obedient and returned to the dining table smelling good. On the wooden dining table, there were a few exquisite side dishes and 2 freshly fried vegetables. The youtiao was cut into small pieces and neatly stacked together. The eggs were chilled with water, and the temperature was just right for shelling. In addition, there was a bowl of piping hot congee with pork and century egg in front of everyone. Gulp! The sound of saliva swallowing was very clear. Usually, the members of Team Logic wouldn't be awake at this time. They thought that they would be very tired from today's recording, but they were very energetic. There was only one thought in their minds: gluttony. Xiangyi urged, "Why are you all in a daze? Eat, eat." The children began to eat. The youtiao was crispy and delicious. The outside was crispy, and the inside was like a sponge cake with gaps. The milky fragrance was mixed with a slight taste of pepper. Sweetness, saltiness, and spiciness overlapped to create a rich texture. Whether it was eaten directly or mixed with congee, it was full of happiness. The congee with pork and century egg was even better. The rice had basically melted, and it was soft and sticky in the mouth. The pork was steamed and fried, and it was very chewy. The century egg was smooth and appetizing, and the shiitake mushroom was soft and fragrant. Together, it was as if an electric current had burst at the tip of the tongue, directly attacking the taste buds and the brain. Oh, it's so delicious. Woo-woo, this is the best congee I've ever eaten in my life. This kimchi is delicious too. It's sour and spicy. It's so strong. Sister E, you're amazing. Yes, 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 Sister E is awesome. Sister E is awesome. The children were all praising her. Xiangyi smiled gently. Eat more if you like it. As for the kimchi, I can pack it for you when we leave. Everyone cheered. Thank you, Sister E, Wander said seriously. Stop calling me Sister E, call me Sister. In an instant, the children all changed to calling her Sister. Xiangyi ate the congee quietly, but the little girl under the table couldn't help but shake twice. In fact, she had always wanted to be an elder sister since she was young. Unfortunately, she was the youngest in the family and had never had the chance to realize it. Who would have thought that his wish would come true today? Shui, who was sitting on her left, leaned over and whispered, "Are you happy, sister?" Xiangyi's hand trembled, and the spoon clanked against the porcelain bowl. How should I put it? The number of times that Shui called her big sister could not compare to the number of times that her legs turned to jelly. Cough. The young girl pretended to be serious. Do you want to eat eggs? I'll peel one for you. Shui said, I'll do it. Xiangyi was the first to grab the bowl of eggs. Her milky white face was serious. No, men's hands are not used to do this kind of rough work. Shui raised her eyebrows and smiled noncommittally. Then, thank you, Sister E. I'm so lucky to have met such a good sister, Xianxia, who was closest to her. Brother sure was getting more and more shameless. Was this still the man he admired and respected as a child? Why was he constantly emitting the fragrance of tea now? Logic's little brothers also heard it. Xiaoyang was outspoken and asked straightforwardly, Sure, Ingdi, aren't you afraid that the netizens will scold you for living off a woman? Shui slowly scooped a spoonful of congee and drank it calmly and confidently. The doctor said that I have a weak stomach and it's not good for me to live off a woman. Everyone, what? So you're proud of living off a woman? Chapter 606. The fans of the couple were screaming in the live stream. Ah, that's a confession. I don't care, it's a confession. See that? This is the majesty of the Empress. As long as our Empress is alive, all of you are concubines. Oh my God, who still remembers how proud Shui used to be? In front of Sister E, he has no integrity at all. The Shui sisters had mixed feelings, but thinking about it carefully, Xianxia seemed to be quite outstanding. She was good-looking, rich, gentle, and all-round. In all honesty, one might be able to find an artist who was more popular than Xianxia in the entertainment industry, but definitely not one who was more suitable for Shui, because Shui liked her. At the thought of this, many of his Shui sisters felt relieved. The meaning of chasing after a star was to chase after a ray of light. Now, this star was also going to chase after his light. After breakfast, the boys rushed to wash the dishes, as if they were children in kindergarten who were trying their best to show off in front of the teacher in order to get a little red flower. The coaches at the base lit their cigarettes and were speechless. Indeed, there was always someone to beat. Finally, there was someone who could tame this group of lawless brats. After breakfast, Xianxia fed the boys a lot of snacks before letting them get to work. Considering the special nature of the esports profession, the production team arranged for some relatively easy and interesting tasks to avoid hurting their hands. For example, they had to go to Little Rabbit Farm to control the robots to move goods, or go to the glass greenhouse to collect petals to make aromatherapy. To the boys of Team Logic, these tasks were not so much tasks as they were relaxing. The boys were having so much fun that they even went to catch chickens, saying that they wanted Xianxia to make chicken soup for lunch. In the end, they accidentally provoked a flock of geese, and all of them were chased around. The boys screamed, and the live stream became a sea of laughter. As we all know, one goose is equal to the combat power of 2 adults. Ha! Who asked you to be naughty? Now you've been taught a lesson by the big geese. Mages, pay attention to your positioning. Can you be a jungler? Pay attention to your coordination. Archers, don't you want to deal damage? Doghead. Under the ridicule of the netizens, Wander showed the courage of the #1 commander in the alliance. He calmed himself down and commanded his teammates to launch a counterattack. Little Yang, attack from the left. Shui, why are you running? Your shoes are about to fall off. Come and catch him. Everyone, take a roundabout route and outflank them. Pay attention to your positioning. Don't King nag me, get lost. The few big geese seemed to have turned into spirits. They caught Wander and beat him up. Wander was so merciless that he covered his head and ran away like a rat. His teammates beside him could not stop laughing. Not far away, Xianxia was wearing a black cap and had one hand in his pocket. He looked extremely aloof. Xianxia was holding a basket with all kinds of flowers she had just cut. The girl smiled. Brother, aren't you going to play with me? Xianxia's body tensed up. Boring, childish, something only little kids would play with. My brother always says that I'm a kid. Xianxia blinked. But I think my brother is also a kid. As soon as her soft voice fell, the girl gently pushed Xianxia, pushing him towards his brothers. Then, the esports guru, who had said that it was boring, suddenly became more interested in catching geese than anyone else. Xianxia looked at her brother, and a small dimple appeared on her cheek. Chapter 607. That was all there was to it. If the system didn't spoil the fun. Number 1018. Host, your mission has not been completed. Xianxia, refresh the next mission. Number 1018, try to resist. Missions have to be done in order. Xianxia, turn on the shielding function. Sob. That's too cold. Okay, I'll refresh the next mission for you. Ding, please let Shui spend money for you. There's no limit to the amount. The system was obviously going easy on her for this mission. Number 1018 thought that Xianxia would at least agree to do such a simple mission, right? Unexpectedly, continue to change. Number 1018. It couldn't figure it out. Why? I'm the one who should spend money for my boyfriend. Please let Shui praise you once. It could be said that the system was going easy on her. Xianxia, my boyfriend is so outstanding. I should praise him more. Number 1018. Forget it. I'll do as I see fit. You can block yourself now. Meow. Xiao Naofa laughed smugly in the 3-person channel. Number 1018 died. The system had human-like emotions. Number 1018 fell into a depressed mood. Xianxia, on the other hand, was deep in thought. She wasn't provoking the system, but testing it. She was testing the bottom line of number 1018. This number 1018 was obviously very tolerant. She could even refuse to do the mission. Xianxia felt that to a certain extent, the system was indulging her. This feeling didn't feel right. The main system had its own set of algorithms. It would maintain fairness to a certain extent, and the subsystem also had a certain degree of freedom. But it wouldn't be biased to this extent. Xianxia felt that this behavior was very much like compensation. She had almost transmigrated, but there was no record of this matter. The main system was probably hiding something. The only thing Xianxia could do now was to deal with all changes by sticking to the status quo and slowly coax information out of number 1018. No matter what, this time, she would never let her family get hurt again. The group of younger brothers played until they were covered in sweat. In the end, they really did catch 2 geese. The younger brothers regretted it after they caught it. They thought that Xianxia was so cute that she would definitely be scared of killing a goose. The lamb said, "The goose is so cute." "Why don't we let it go?" Xianxia said, "The goose is so cute." "Why don't we make roast goose?" Xiaoyang. Netizens. Pfft. I'm going to laugh myself to death in this stream sooner or later. I'm laughing so hard. I feel like my mom is about to beat me up with a feather duster. Sister E, broaden your horizons. In addition to roast goose, you can also make beer goose, marinated goose, braised goose, and stewed goose in an iron pot. Thinking of the wonderful taste of the goose stewed in the iron pot last time, Li Jinyu offered to help kill the goose. The viewers in the live stream burst into laughter again. They had seen variety show directors ordering their artists around, but they had never seen a variety show director snatching their artist's work. While waiting for the goose to be dealt with, Logic's brothers discussed what to play. "Why don't we play games with Big Sister?" Xianxia was quite interested. "Okay." All of a sudden, the younger brothers expressed their opinions. "Don't worry, Big Sister. I'll definitely lead the way. Big Sister, I'm here. Just follow behind me when the time comes. Big Sister, don't be afraid. We're all super awesome." Everyone was talking at once, but the question of what game to play became a problem. Xianxia rummaged through a box of game controllers. "How about this?" In an instant, the younger brothers were all dumbfounded. Limited edition. They're all limited edition. Chapter 608. As a group of internet addicts, their biggest hobby was to collect all kinds of keyboards, mice, headphones, and game consoles. Even if ordinary game consoles were expensive, they could still buy them. But the box that Xianxia was carrying was mostly a series that couldn't be bought even if one had the money. By the way, there's also these. Xianxia flipped through the other boxes, which contained various game cards. There was a period of time when she liked to play video games. Her 4th brother, Xianyu, gave her a few. Later, her brothers and little uncle each gave her a few more. Needless to say, there were so many game cards. There were so many game cards that they were dazzling, causing the younger brothers to start swallowing their saliva. Holy shit, a first-generation magic treasure. Big Sister, are we really able to play? The group of youths looked at Xianxia anxiously. They were simply weak, helpless, and pitiful. Xianxia, of course. She generously pushed the box over and let them divide it among themselves. The younger brothers suppressed their excitement and carefully touched their game controllers. Roar! The reaction of the younger brothers made the audience in the live streaming room laugh. "Huh, my little brothers are so cute. I'm a collector, and I'm satisfied with this book. Sister E, I'm just an ordinary rich woman. I took a screenshot and searched for these game controllers. The total price is almost enough for the down payment of a house in a second-tier city." After some careful selection, each of the younger brothers chose a game controller. The game he chose was a classic domestic gunfight game, Law City. At first, Li Jinyu was worried that it would not be easy to shoot, but he did not expect Xianxia to take him to the 3rd floor. The entire 3rd floor was opened up. The space was shockingly large, and the lighting was good. It was divided into different areas according to its function, such as the fitness area, the movie viewing area, and the gaming area. There were several large screens for the convenience of the game. He could imagine Xianxia having fun with her family. It was a warm and beautiful scene. Li Jinyu. Was it too late to hug Sister Yi's thigh now? The viewers in the live stream were shocked again. Was this the daily life of Ms. Perfect? Don't mention Xianxia. They also want to eat Sister Yi's soft rice. Wander plugged in the game card and connected several controllers to the screen. He tilted his head and asked Xianxia, Sister E, there are 4 professions in Maze Town. Sniper, Special Forces, Wizard, and Medic. It's almost equal to ranged. Melee, Sorcerer, and Healer. Which one do you want to play? Xianxia thought for a moment. A nanny. She often played support characters, so she should be able to play them well. In any case, he had always been criticized by Big Brother for his decision-making, Second Brother for his tactics, Third Brother for his hand speed, and Fourth Brother for his operation. As for Little Uncle, he was so weak that he didn't deserve to be despised. Upon hearing Xiangyi's choice, the esports fans who had rushed over after hearing the news began to curse. Girls are only fit to play support in the first place. Toxic, we only want to watch professional players play games and a female celebrity play, okay? She fought Old Wong and the others? Was she worthy? Does this woman know what the front, back, left, and right attack jump buttons are? In reality, Xiangyu knew his sister's level and did not join in the fun. Instead, he let a substitute player go up. His behavior was inevitably criticized by others. As the exciting music sounded, the game began. Chapter 609. The map of the game was an abandoned city, a bit like the scene after the apocalypse. The gray-toned image was depressing and dark. 4 figures respawned at the resurrection point. Although the game was a single-player game, the mode was hell-level difficulty. As soon as the 4 stepped out of the resurrection point, they were attacked by monsters. In the early stages of the game, characters didn't have much money to buy equipment and were very fragile, especially the 3 damage output characters. Wander and the others had bought attack equipment according to their habits. This wave of fast and fierce attacks caught the 3 of them a little off guard. Normally, they would never panic because they had absolute confidence in the strength of their support teammates. But now, the support in the team was Sister. Although they would find her cute no matter how badly she fought, they would feel embarrassed if they couldn't bring her back to the resurrection point in the early stages of the game. The 3 of them had a lot of drama going on in their minds. Their hands moved swiftly as they killed the monsters, but in their minds, they kept adding scenes to themselves. The monsters approached from afar, and soon, they encountered them head-on. Seeing that the team was about to be wiped out, a protective shield was cast on the melee player, just in time. The 3 of them stood in a formation of special forces with the melee player in front and the damage output characters behind. They used the surrounding buildings to block the monsters. The shield offset most of the damage. The moment the shield was broken, the monster's bite landed. But at the same time, whoosh, 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 3 rays of healing light fell on the melee player's head. Every time the healing light flashed, the critical health bar would be restored to full. This repeated 3 times, buying precious time for the damage output to clear most of the monsters. Instant healing. Sister, he knew how to do this. Instant healing was a skill that required a lot of skill from the healer in the game. It required the healer to accurately insert healing between a series of damage. If the healer was a second too early, the healer would still have full health and the skill would be wasted. If the healer was a second too late, the healer would have been killed by the enemy, and there would be no time to save them. Therefore, the healer needed to be familiar with the cooldown time of the skill and be aware of the rhythm of the healing. As for hand speed, it was needless to say. If one's hand was fast or slow, the effect would not be the best. But Sister E did it. Most of the viewers in the live stream didn't understand the game, but they vaguely felt that Xiangyi seemed to be quite powerful. Wow, Sister E is so good at healing. Why do I feel like she knows how to have fun? Xiangyi's luck is so good. She always manages to heal when her HP is low. Some esports fans were unwilling to accept this reality. In their eyes, wasn't this normal? What's the big deal? I can do it with my feet too. Healer only has a few skills, just press the buttons one by one. Isn't this a very common operation? Isn't it because she's a woman that you're praising her? The game continued. The adventure team explored the depths of the city, triggering random quests and various battles along the way. Aside from monsters, There were also rebel forces hidden in every corner of the city that would launch sneak attacks on the adventurer team. The soul-stirring battle made everyone break out in a cold sweat. Wasn't this too difficult? If it were an ordinary person, they would have died countless times already. However, other than Xianxia, who was playing as a healer, everyone else in the party was at full health. Bang! Gunshots rang out, and the team was forced to split up. Xianxia's nanny was trapped in an alley. Chapter 610. The situation became tense all of a sudden. The long-range and melee mages could still rely on their positioning and brute force to resist, but the healer was trapped in the alley alone and was almost doomed. The stream was filled with mockery and ridicule. The camera gave Xianxia a close-up. The girl's face was fair and delicate without a single flaw. Her expression was indifferent and calm, as if she wasn't bothered by this desperate situation at all. In the game, the weak healer was facing 3 enemies. The only lucky thing was that the 3 enemies were special forces and could only use pistols and daggers. Bang, bang. Several gunshots rang out, but none of them hit. Perhaps people couldn't dodge bullets in real life, but a game was a game after all. Xianxia relied on her positioning and managed to dodge the enemy's attack in such a narrow space. Someone exclaimed in the live comments, "This is godly positioning?" Godly positioning was the famous positioning of Smog in Counter. It was changeable and unpredictable, and had given countless opponents headaches. Later, many players in the league tried to imitate it, but most of them could only imitate the surface but not the essence. That was because this positioning required not only hand speed, but also brain speed. In other words, not only must one's hand be fast, one must also have a good brain. However, Xianxia actually managed to do it. There was a small uproar in the stream. "Sister E is quite something. F***CK. It's such a pity that she didn't go into esports with her talent." My whole family was shocked. I spent a few months in the youth training camp and almost vomited when I practiced this positioning. I didn't expect someone to be able to do it so easily. As for the esports fans who were criticizing her just now, they were also speechless at this moment. Wait, why are you still hiding it so well? Godly positioning, it turns out that a girl can use it so casually. What happened next made these people even more dumbfounded. After the enemies ran out of bullets, they pulled out their daggers and approached the healer from several different angles. Xianxia pressed the controller and switched to the only weapon the healer could carry, a dagger. The killing power of a dagger was the lowest in May's castle. To give a simple example, a short sword could kill a person with 5 slashes, but a dagger could take 10 slashes or even more. Therefore, in this game, it was very difficult for healers to kill people, so they could only focus on assisting. However, Xianxia, on the other hand, showed what a close combat healer was. The girl was calm and steady. She controlled the healer in the game to move forward and backward. She flipped and moved, and every attack accurately hit the enemy. The smooth operation was like a feast of art. The aesthetics of violence was vividly and perfectly interpreted at this moment. Schwa! One person fell to the ground. It was now 1 versus 2. Swish, swish. The second enemy was also heavily injured and could no longer fight. At this time, the healer's HP was almost empty. Just when everyone thought that there was no hope, Xianxia calmly cast a few healing skills on herself. The green holy light of healing flickered. Through the screen, the audience could feel the despair of the AI in the game. Why the F***CK is there still blood? Xianxia, who was full of HP, leisurely killed the 3rd enemy. She neatly put away her dagger and picked up the spoils of war before heading to where her teammates were. "Here, these are the things I just picked up." The girl calmly distributed them according to her needs. The boys were speechless. What does it feel like to have a bunch of spoils of war given to you by your sister before you even have time to save her? The audience was completely convinced as they typed on the public screen. "Sister E is awesome." Chapter 611. The boys accepted the equipment given by Xianxia with mixed feelings and continued to play the game. The 3 professional players and a fake newbie were no match for them, even in hell mode. A large game over popped up, and a few of them were still a little unsatisfied. "That was awesome." Wander sighed. Sister E, have you ever considered playing professionally? From his professional point of view, Xianxi's skills were definitely not a problem. Although she was 20 years old, it wasn't an absolute obstacle. Wander did it out of love for talent. But he didn't expect that his proposal would cause such a huge uproar in the live stream. The fans naturally laughed and praised her, but some people were very resistant, especially the esports fans who had just been slapped in the face. They couldn't wait to defend the so-called glory of the esports circle. She's just a woman. No matter how good she is, she's still a woman. Not to mention China, there aren't many women in professional teams all over the world. I'm not looking down on women, but women aren't suitable for esports, just like how men aren't suitable for science. The best in all industries are men. If women are really so good, why aren't there any women in the top esports teams in China? When it came to the sensitive topic of gender, the netizens suddenly argued. Xianxi's reply, however, made people want to slap their thighs and praise her. Wander, are you interested in farming? Wander froze for a moment and smiled. Sister E, you want to poach me? I'm very expensive, but if it's Sister E, I can give you a friendly discount. Xianxi, sure. If you poach me, I'll give you a 10% discount. The conversation between the two was full of emotional intelligence. Both sides used a joking way to reject Xianxia. It was a textbook response that could be called a masterpiece. Not far away, Shui heard this and lowered her eyebrows. She smiled and scratched Xiao Naofu's chin. Xiao Naofu bit his fingertips and spat on his hand, but didn't really use much force. Xiao Naofu had unknowingly slowly accepted Shui, but it refused to admit it. Shui, little fatty, you have quite a temper. Xiao Naofu. Damn you, you're the fat one. You are. Wander saw that the others were eager to give it a try, so he passed the controller to his teammates and asked them to continue playing. He and Xianxi discussed the controls. Although Xianxi didn't play many games, her logical thinking was clear and she had a set of tactics. After chatting with her for a while, Wander felt that he had learned a lot. He sighed and said, looking at the problem from a different perspective, it's really different. He was a melee player, so even as a commander, he could not help but think from the perspective of a melee player. Xianxi, on the other hand, had an auxiliary mindset and was more attuned to the big picture. Why is Sister E playing support? Don't you feel wronged? Usually, no matter what game it is, the first to die is the support. Xianxi's answer was simple. It's nothing. Some people like to be heroes, and I think it's good to be the one who claps for heroes. Wander was stunned by this answer. After a long time, he sighed softly, as if he was mocking himself, but also as if he was confiding. Actually, when I was young, my wish was to be a scavenger. At that time, I didn't know anything, so I felt very free. Now that I think about it, isn't it ridiculous? After all, other children's wishes are to be astronauts or scientists. Xianxi shook her head. No. Her tone was sincere. I think every profession and every choice is worthy of respect. Chapter 612. Wander looked at her in a daze. He didn't know why, but Xianxi gave him a trustworthy feeling. That was why he couldn't help but say what was on his mind. He had only said it as a joke. If it were someone else, they might have laughed at him or disdained him. But Xianxi, she was very serious. She might not be the best communicator, but she was the most gentle listener. No matter what nonsense you said to her, she would listen carefully and give a response. Her knowledge and information density were much higher than ordinary people's. Wander suddenly understood why so many people liked Xianxi. Only by treating people with your heart could you exchange your heart for theirs. Thank you, Sister E. Wander relaxed a lot. I'm sorry for the choice I didn't make, but I'm also happy for the choice I made. He didn't regret playing esports at all. Although it was tiring and bitter, it was something he loved. No matter how tired he was, it was worth it. Xianxi smiled. Then, congratulations. You're doing what you like to do. Wander scratched his head. Actually, I'm going to retire. When these words came out, the coaches in the base almost vomited blood. They had a hunch that Wander's words would cause a huge commotion in the club. Other than Xianxia, the most valuable player in Logic was Wander. When they heard the word retire, his teammates all looked over. Even Xianxia, who is usually the coldest, frowned. After all, I'm old and I have an old injury in my hand. I used to be quite young and frivolous. Now, every time I compete, I'm most worried about whether I'll be a burden to my teammates. I'm old. Wanda used to think that he would never talk to anyone about this. He didn't expect to talk so much to Xianxia, who he had just met. Fate was really magical. Captain, you're not old. You're not old. You're not a burden. You've always been the strongest in my heart. His brothers anxiously spoke and tried to persuade him to stay. Xianxia pressed down on his black cap and said in a muffled voice, "Hey, if you leave, who will I play with?" Wander's heart ached. They met when they were 15 years old, and the two of them had been working together for so many years. Their friendship was no longer as simple as teammates and friends. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to call them brothers and family members. The viewers in the live stream were also immersed in the sad atmosphere. Old Wang retired? No, Grandpa Xianxia. Wow, I'm crying out loud. Being an esports player is so tough. If he doesn't care about the team, why would he have such thoughts? Wander, sometimes I really hope you can be a little selfish and think more about yourself instead of always thinking about others. Many of Wander's diehard fans were secretly wiping their tears in front of the screen, but they heard the girl's gentle voice. You have a hand injury? Do you mind if I check your pulse? Everyone, Wander was also stunned for a moment before he came back to his senses. Sister E, I appreciate your kindness, but even the best physiotherapist abroad said that my hand can't be healed. However, someone told him that if a few of the top Chinese medicine practitioners in the country came out of seclusion, there might still be hope. However, how could a big shot leave the mountain just like that? Xianxia, can I give it a try? Seeing Xianxi's insistence, Wander smiled bitterly and couldn't bear to refuse her. Hence, he extended his wrist. Chapter 613. She placed her fair and slender fingers on his pulse accurately. This time, it took longer than any of the previous times. Xianxi's face turned from expressionless to solemn with a frown. The audience who were watching a live stream also got nervous. How is it? Can he be saved? Xianxia is so young. Are her medical skills reliable? Come on, Wander is an esports player. His hands are precious. Can this woman not mess around? More than 10 minutes later, Xianxia went through a set of procedures and said softly, "Your hands have been suffering from an occupational disease for years. I've thought of a few treatment plans, but I'm afraid you'll have to wait for a while. I need to consult someone else." Wander didn't have much hope in his hands, but he was already very grateful to Xianxi's words. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's okay, Sister E. You don't have to force yourself. He thought that Xianxi's wait was just a polite remark like, let's have dinner together next time. He didn't expect that the next second, she dialed Xianxi's number. Wander was dumbfounded. How can I ask that on the spot? The phone rang a few times before it was connected. Ahem, you finally know to call me now? Xianxi's tone was rather fierce, and he said arrogantly, Go ahead. What medical questions do you want to ask? Xianxia asked, Huh? Grandpa, are you watching my live stream? I heard from Grandma that you often watch it. Xianxia denied no. After a pause, he said awkwardly, I don't watch it often, I just watch it occasionally. Madame Xiang snorted with laughter and said, Little bunny, don't listen to his nonsense. As long as he has nothing to do, he'll watch your live stream. If he doesn't do a live stream, he'll watch your replays. God knows how many times he's watched them. Xianxia, who had been exposed, was speechless. Even though they were on the other side of the phone, Xianxia still turned away. Xianxia smiled. The feeling of being silently cared for by her family was especially blissful. Since the patient was of the utmost importance, she got straight to the point and told him about Wander's condition. Xianxia was a little embarrassed at first, but as he listened, his attention was completely attracted. He muttered, I think the plans you mentioned are all feasible, but they're not perfect enough. Xianxia proposed acupuncture, prescriptions, and medicinal cuisine. Although her medical skills were varied, she was still limited by her age and experience. Compared to an experienced physician, her proposals were still a little immature. Xianxia said coquettishly, Grandpa, what should I do? Can you teach me? Xianxia grinned as soon as Little Bunny called him Grandpa. It was better for his granddaughter to call him Grandpa. Xianxia and the other stinking brats would only annoy him. and Xiangfeng was even less of a problem. His son in his old age would most likely be a simpleton. Oomph. Do you think that just because you call me Grandpa, I will help you come up with ideas? Xiang Yin's words made Wander's heart sink into the abyss. However, he immediately smiled bitterly and comforted himself. She helped him out of kindness, but it was her duty not to help him. He had no right to complain. Some netizens were disappointed, while others were dissatisfied. Xiang Yi's grandfather seems to have a bad temper. Why is Grandpa like this? What's wrong with saving old Wang? Wander is so pitiful. He gave him hope and was disappointed again. While the fans were bawling their eyes out, they heard Xiang Yin's grandfather say the next sentence. Let me tell you, you have to say it twice. Wander was speechless. The fans were speechless. That's it. That's it. Chapter 614. Everyone was dumbfounded on the spot. What's wrong? Is the arrogance of the Xiang family hereditary? I'm laughing so hard. Is an obsession of the Xiang family to make sister call Xiang grandpa? Grandpa is so cute. I thought he would ask for anything, but I didn't expect him to just call Xiang grandpa. The only thing I'm concerned about is, what level is Xiang Yi's grandfather at? Can he treat old Wang's hand? If he can't, don't take on such a difficult task. Is your brain unevolved? I suggest you search for the name Xiang Yin. Soon, the live stream was full of exclamation marks. What the heck? What the heck? He's one of the top 10 traditional Chinese medicine doctors of the current generation in Wuxia. He's as miraculous as Hua Tuo, a leading figure in the domestic medical field. This big shot is actually Xiang Yi's grandfather. The netizens' jaws dropped in shock. It was mainly because Xiang Yi's grandfather had appeared on the live stream a few times in a very low-key manner and even a little funny. Everyone thought that he was the kind of grandpa next door who looked serious on the outside, but was actually very funny. They had heard from Xiang Yi that she had learned medicine from Xiang Yi's grandfather since she was a child, but their understanding of Xiang Yi's medical skills was that of an old doctor at a roadside traditional Chinese medicine clinic. Who would have thought that he was such an impressive traditional Chinese medicine practitioner? At the esports base, several coaches of Logic had also found out about Xiang Yi's grandfather's true identity, and they were all dumbfounded. After a long silence, the head coach muttered, Wander is so damn lucky. They went to Sister Yi's house as a guest and ended up meeting an immortal. That was even harder than winning 5 million yuan in the lottery. The coaches initially gave the children a day off because they wanted them to have a good rest. However, they went to participate in 2 under 1 roof, and the coaches were rather critical of them. Now they felt that, well done, in the manner. Xiang Yi's grandfather cleared his throat and generously made a few suggestions, all of which were to improve Xiang Yi's treatment plan. Xiang Yi listened carefully and even took notes with a pen and paper. Xiang Yi's grandfather's mouth was parched, but he still didn't feel satisfied. He simply said, Wait for me, I'll go over now. After saying that, Xiang Yi hung up. At this time, Wander happened to read the contents of the encyclopedia that his teammate passed to him. He was in a daze. The leading figure of Chinese medicine in the country, who even many influential businessmen couldn't invite, was actually coming over to treat his hand? Was he really not dreaming? Xiang Yu whispered, Why didn't you tell me about your hand injury earlier? What's the point of hiding it from us? Wander, I just don't want to cause you trouble. Besides, I didn't know your grandfather was so powerful. Xiaoyang naively said, That's right. Otherwise, Sameo Gu would be able to invite Grandpa over to treat Captain. Wander suddenly asked, Can you invite him? Xiang Yu, that might not be the case. Grandpa would give face to his younger sister, but he might slap them in the face. Time ticked by. After waiting for a long time, Xiang Yin still didn't show up. Some impatient viewers in the live stream couldn't hold it in any longer. Why isn't she here yet? You're not kidding, are you? If she's deliberately trying to make old Wang despair, I'm going to kill Xiang Yi. Maybe she's just saying that to gain a good reputation. In fact, she won't come at all. Disperse, it's just a publicity stunt. Chapter 615. Even though Spicy Tutu teamed up to defend Xiang Yi, there were still more and more voices of doubt. In particular, a few extreme fans of Wander were on the verge of losing control of their emotions when they heard that he was going to retire because of his injury. Now that Xianxi's grandfather had yet to arrive, they vented all their dissatisfaction on Xianxi. "Bitch, you're in for it if you can't cure old Wang. If Wander retires, I'll be the first to flame you online. If you're really good at medicine, why don't you treat your crippled grandfather?" There were also some nasty comments that were blocked as asterisks. Even the passers-by couldn't stand those malicious comments, let alone spicy tutu. Some passers-by couldn't stand it and spoke up for Xianxi, but they were immediately rebuked by the extreme fans. "You're trying to prove your innocence. Fans of such a woman, are you fools? I think those treatment plans are just nonsense. That wretched old man is just acting along with her. Get lost, you drama queen." At this moment, a staff member raised his voice. They're here. Mr. Xiang and his friends are here." He deliberately shouted loudly because he saw the comments in the live stream. As soon as he finished speaking, the number of comments in the live stream decreased significantly. The camera panned to the gate, only to see a few cars slowly driving in. The netizens were a little puzzled. Why are there so many cars? Could it be that Xianxi's grandfather has a special status, so he has more assistants and bodyguards? The extreme fans refused to let go of any opportunity to criticize Xianxi. "Oh, what a grand entrance. He's just a traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. Who knows if he's just fishing for fame? How dare he throw his weight around like a celebrity when he's out?" Xianxi was the first to dash out of the room and scurry towards Xianxi's car. Xiao Naofu and little Shiji followed closely behind. However, Xiao Naofu was lazy and had short legs. The little kitten was lying on Xiao Naofu's back and was being carried around. In the eyes of the netizens, the kitten and dog were like spirits. The car door opened. Xianxi's grandfather wasn't that particular. He didn't ask the chauffeur to open the door for him and simply got out of the car. Seeing the little rabbit running towards him like a bright spring day, the old man's lips curled into a smile. When Xianxi was almost in front of him, his stern and fierce expression returned. "Why are you running so fast? Aren't you afraid of falling?" Xianxi ran too fast, and her breathing was slightly irregular. She held her knees and panted. Even though she was reprimanded by her grandfather, her cheeks were still dimpled. "When I was young, Grandpa would always pick me up at the door. Now that I've grown up, I have to pick Grandpa up too." The old man was obviously pleased by this sentence. He stroked his beard and looked up at the sky, pretending not to care, but in fact he was overjoyed. "Your grandmother is participating in a square dance competition today, so she didn't come." Xianxi glanced at the cars behind and said in displeasure, "Those old fogies insisted on coming. They're so annoying." Huh. Like Xianxi, the netizens were also curious about the identity of the annoying old man that Xianxi was referring to. Several old people got out of the car one by one. They were all familiar figures to Xianxi. Grandfather Fong, Grandfather Yun, Grandfather Jing. They were none other than the medical experts who had accepted her as their disciples. Elder Fong, the president of the Wuxia Traditional Chinese Medicine Association. Elder Yun, the successor of Huichun Hall Medical Hall. Elder Jing, the chief physician of Jishir Hall Medical Hall. Some of the netizens who recognized the identities of these people immediately sat up straight. If an analogy had to be made, the four of them could be considered a gathering of the top celebrities in the entertainment industry. I'm shocked. The most impressive group of traditional Chinese medicine practitioners in China is here. Chapter 616. The netizens were completely shocked. In particular, those who studied medicine felt as if their blood was about to boil when they saw this scene. It was no exaggeration to say that even the richest man in the city might not be able to hire the four of them at the same time. However, they actually gathered here today for Xianxi. Amazing, amazing. Hearing Xianxi's call, Elder Fong and the other two looked at her with displeasure. "What did you call me? Grandpa?" "My good disciple, just call me Master." "My dear disciple, you don't have to pay attention to those two old fogies. Just call me Master." Xianxi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. and she obediently greeted the masters. Seeing that his granddaughter was only talking to the three old men and ignoring him, Xianxia muttered softly, "Since I'm not welcome here, I'd better leave." Xianxia hurriedly coaxed him and called him Grandpa sweetly. She even promised to cook his favorite dish, drunken crab. Only then did Xianxia reluctantly forgive her. Elder Fong and the other two at the side were green with envy. Ah, if we hadn't blocked Xianxia because he kept showing off his granddaughter, we might have taken her as our disciple long ago. It's too late for regrets now. After exchanging pleasantries, the four of them entered the living room. Although they were joking around, they didn't forget to get down to business. "Where's the patient?" Elder Fong asked. Wander's legs turned a little wobbly when he saw the respected old man. He raised his hand weakly and said, "It's me." For gazes as sharp as lightning suddenly shot towards him. They took Wander's pulse and diagnosed him one by one. Elder Fong stroked his beard and pondered for a moment before looking at Xianxia. "Disciple, tell us again about the treatment plan that you have thought of." Xianxia explained it seriously. The few of them frowned and nodded from time to time, making the netizens extremely anxious. Can it be treated or not? Just give him a quick death. Xianxia is really funny. Why did she say it just because we asked her to? Isn't she showing off in front of an expert? Do you guys really think that Elder Fong and the others accepted Xianxia as their disciple because of her medical skills? They're just doing Xianxia a favor. In the living room, after Xianxia finished speaking, she humbly asked for advice. "My treatment plan is still not enough. Masters, please enlighten me." The more one knew, the more ignorant one would feel. Xianxia was the same. Elder Fong and the others looked at each other and smiled. Regardless of her medical skills, they liked Xianxia's attitude very much. She was neither arrogant nor rash, and she was dedicated to learning. Moreover, with her talent and strength, she could already be considered as a little miracle doctor. If you ask me, these proposals, Elder Fong purposely kept him in suspense and said something shocking, "are better than your grandfather's." Xianxia was speechless. "Nonsense. Hey, old Xiang, don't be in such a hurry to refute." Elder Yin smiled as he stroked his beard, looking like an immortal. "Let me ask you a question first. Is it harder to write an article or to change an article?" Xianxia obviously could tell what he meant. He humphed and ignored him. The more Elder Yin stopped making a fuss, the more he spoke. His words made people feel as if they had been sitting in the spring breeze for a month. Naturally, it's to change the article. With your medical skills, it's more than enough to change my beloved disciple's treatment plan. However, can you think of these few plans? Elder Jing chimed in. "Admit it, it's the young people's world now. My dear disciple can take over from us old men." Everyone was speechless. "Are you guys here to see a doctor or to bootlick Sister E?" Chapter 617. The netizens were in an even more complicated mood. They thought that Mr. Fong and the others would criticize Xianxia's treatment plan, but to their surprise, they were all praising her. They're even more like her grandfather than Xianxia. As for those who were criticizing Xianxia, they were dumbfounded. Isn't Xianxia relying on the fact that her grandfather is a famous doctor? Why did Mr. Fong and the others praise her so much? Is she really that talented? As for Xianxia, although he had been criticized, he was grinning from ear to ear. He liked it when others praised his little bunny. Besides, his little bunny was worth it. As her grandfather, he had always been proud of Xianxia. Of course, despite the praise, the three traditional Chinese medicine experts also helped Xianxia perfect the treatment plan. The location of the two acupoints in the acupuncture plan can be adjusted. The herbs in this medicinal cuisine can be replaced with more nourishing ones, but you have to be careful not to use too much nourishment. Otherwise, you won't be able to withstand it. I think we could try to fight poison with poison. Isn't this kid a gamer? The sooner he's cured, the sooner he can play computer games. Want to try to explain, Grandpa Jing? I'm an esports player. What esports? Isn't it just gaming? Yes. Wander smiled awkwardly. Over the years, he had met many people who were prejudiced against the esports industry, so he had long gotten used to it. If he had to prove himself to everyone, it would be too tiring. Some of his extreme fans started criticizing him in the live stream. What does this old man know? Discriminating against esports? What rubbish. This old man doesn't know anything, and yet he's still spouting nonsense. Ridiculous. There was an uproar in the comments section, but in reality, Xianxia said in a warm voice, Master, esports is different from playing games. Esports uses electronic devices as sports equipment, and it's a form of intellectual competition between people. It's similar to Go and Chinese chess. The General Administration of Sports has officially approved the inclusion of esports as an official sports competition. Wander and his teammates have recently won an international competition. Like other athletes, they have won glory for our country. Wander's heart warmed. So this is how it feels to be protected by someone. Elder Jing was suddenly enlightened. Oh, I see. Elder Yin said. It sounds like a very powerful profession. Elder Fong smiled. It looks like we'll have to treat this champion properly. Wander was a little flattered and looked at Xianxia with eyes full of gratitude. There was no need for her to say this, but she still explained it for him. It was appropriate and just right. Xianxia retorted, Why are you all pretending? You just don't know anything. Elder Fong smiled. Do you understand? Xianxia was speechless. Of course, he didn't understand. However, Xianxia said righteously, Our little bunny knows what to do. What I don't understand, our little rabbit will tell me. Who asked me to ask whenever I don't understand? Someone will answer my questions. Old Master Fong's tone was smug, like a kindergarten kid showing off his toys. Fong Lao and the other two were envious. Such a good disciple. How good would it have been if he had accepted her a few years ago? Xianxia blinked and said, How about this? I'll set up a group chat. In the future, you guys can ask me in the group chat if you want to ask about things like online shopping, trending slogans, and so on. After the group chat was set up, Xianxia added everyone into the group chat one by one. At last, she didn't forget to add Shui. Let me introduce you to my boyfriend. The lively live broadcast room fell into a dead silence for a second. Chapter 618. WH what? Did I hear wrongly? Did Sister E say the word boyfriend? Shocking. Sister E has a boyfriend. I'm so curious about who Sister Yi's boyfriend is. Ha ha. Xianxin's face turned pale immediately. I feel like he's going to beat someone up with his cane. Shui happened to have gone to the pantry to make tea and was not in the living room. He used his real name on WeChat, and after he was added to the group, Xianxia and the others could see it clearly. Old Mr. Fong and the others were fine. Although they felt that it was a pity, they were quite happy for Xianxia. However, Xianxia was different. Why did little bunny go after a pig? What's so good about Shui? He has a lot of flaws, such as... Xianxia struggled for a long time, but he couldn't think of any flaws in Shui. Instead, he felt that Shui had always been gentle, restrained, and well-mannered since he was a child. Stop. Xianxia snapped out of his messy thoughts and gritted his teeth. Little bunny, how can you fall in love at such a young age? Xianxia said innocently. Grandpa, I'm already 20 years old. Even at 20 years old, you're still in love. She pursed her lips and continued. But you married Grandma when you were 20 years old. Xianxia coughed softly. The atmosphere suddenly became awkward. At this moment, Shui returned with the tea, which was filled with steam and a faint fragrance. Xianxia humphed coldly when he saw him. Old Mr. Fong and the others were sizing him up with a mischievous smile. Shui didn't have his cell phone with him, so he had no idea what was going on. After distributing the tea, he naturally sat beside Xianxia. What's the matter? He asked. Xianxia blinked and said, I just added my boyfriend to the group. Shui raised his eyebrows and his heart skipped a beat. Her words were extremely ambiguous, and there were already some fans of the untimely couple who were screaming crazily on the bullet screen. Damn it, did I get it? Boyfriend. Is it Xianxia, is it? I don't care. I don't care. This is an official announcement. There were also some people who didn't want to believe it. Instead, they sneered. Does Xianxia have any shame? You already have a boyfriend. Why are you still talking to Xianxia like that? Shui isn't a good person either. Heh, men really don't reject women. Don't they think Xianxia is dirty? Haven't you heard of the couple on set? They were together during filming and immediately broke up after filming. These two were obviously a variety show couple. The day the variety show ends will definitely be the day they cut ties. In the comments, everyone's analysis was clear and logical, as if they were all psychologists and emotional experts. Until Shui's deep and magnetic voice spread to every corner of the live broadcast room through the sound receiver. What group? Girlfriend. Boom. It was as if a sudden clap of thunder had struck the ground, deafening everyone. What did Xianxia say? Were they hallucinating? Why did they hear him call Xianxia girlfriend? At this moment, whether it was Shui Sis, Spicy Tutu, the untimely couple fans, or even the passers-by, they were all shocked. Countless netizens were sharing the news on various major social media platforms. The two under one roof live stream was instantly flooded with a terrifying amount of traffic. The number of online viewers had tied the previous record and was even on the verge of surpassing it. Li Jinyu and the others were dumbfounded. Wander and the others were dumbfounded. The number of comments in the live stream exploded. Netizens from all over the world came to join in the fun. The entire internet went crazy at this moment. Chapter 619. F***CK, have you heard? Shui and Xianxia have officially announced their relationship. Nanny? Shui and sister E are together. I was dumbfounded. Are these two for real? Oh my god, I got it for real. The number of online viewers in the live stream went from 8 million to 9 million, and then to 10 million whoosh. The number of viewers had officially exceeded the 10 million mark, and it was still increasing. This figure was enough to make countless directors, producers, and investors in the industry cry. As for the brands that had sponsored two under one roof and hired Xianxia to endorse them, the senior executives were all smiling more brightly than flowers. This show was great. Not only was there a steady flow of traffic, but it was also a hot search topic. From time to time, it would become a hit. It was definitely worth it. The brands couldn't wait to transfer more money over. In the living room, after Shui asked, "What's the group? Girlfriend?" Xianxia generously showed it to Shui. "Here, it's the group that joined Grandpa and Master just now." Shui nodded slightly. "I'll change the name then." The group name was changed to A Loving Family. The camera happened to take a close-up of her phone and capture the group name. All of a sudden, the netizens expressed, "Are you there? Is Sister E spying on my life? Ha ha ha. Our group name is the same. It's exactly the same. I love my family request to fight. The X-family will never admit defeat. We're a family. Shui and Sister Yi's child has already learned how to play." In the next second, Shui, who had changed her name, sent a message in the group. Shui, rose handshake and fist salute. Shui, cheers to our friendship. JPG, Shui, let's hold each other's hand on the internet. Cherish this fate. JPG, when the netizens saw this scene, they slowly typed a question mark. Shui, did you just blink when your account was hacked? What the hell is with this middle-aged man style? To their surprise, old Mr. Fong and the others developed a strong interest in Shui's meme. "Hey, Shui, why did you send this picture? Little, it seems like you're good at chatting." "Not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad." Hearing the praises of the three Chinese medicine masters, everyone felt a little dazed. Could this be the legendary halo that attracts the elders? Shui warmly explained how to save the stickers and how to send them. He was very patient. Not only did he explain in detail, but he also helped each old man save the stickers and showed them how to send them on the spot. Even Xianxia, who was the most arrogant, couldn't help but sneak a few glances at her while silently memorizing the steps. Xiang 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 to xiang 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 xiang. Shui asked modestly and gently, "Grandpa, can I help you save the meme?" Xiang's grandfather's ears twitched, but he retorted fiercely, "No need." Shui said, Yes, it's not that you need it. I just want to train myself more. Actually, I've only just learned how to send memes." "Oh." Xiang's grandfather glanced at him sideways and asked, "So you don't know how to do it either?" "Yes." Sure Sui smiled a little sheepishly, as if he had just learned how to surf the internet. Xianxia's grandfather finally said benevolently, "Okay, since you're begging me to save it, I'll reluctantly agree." Chapter 620. Sure Sui looked down and tapped the screen with his slender fingers in a bid to save an emoji for Xiangyin. He whispered and taught Xiangyin how to use it. His logic was clear and organized, and Xiangyin was gradually mesmerized by it. In the live stream, the netizens cheered in unison. "Hey, Sure Sui is so good at speaking." "Sure Chasheng. Ah, he's so good at pleasing the elders. I can't help it. Sure Sui is so good at speaking. I've recorded the screen, and I'm about to forward it to the group chat." After a while, Xiangyin and the others had all learned how to send emojis. The four of them began to compete with each other in the group chat. The few old men, who were about 200 to 300 years old in total, were staring intently at the screen and playing seriously, which was rather hilarious. On the other hand, Sure Sui smirked at Xiangyi from afar. Finally, she gave him a status. Xiangyi made eye contact with him, and there was no need for words between them. They already knew what each other was thinking. The cheerful voice of the system sounded in her mind. "Ding, it has been detected that you have completed the hidden task. Official announcement. The following rewards are issued to you. 1,000 points and a plot change card." Xiangyi frowned and asked, "Plot change card?" "Yes, you can choose to change a part of the plot of any character in the book. In other words, you can change a person's fate. If it were anyone else, they would probably be unable to resist using such a tempting card." However, Xiangyi simply expressed assent indifferently and said, "Keep it for now." Number 1018 couldn't help but ask, "Host, aren't you going to consider using it? Not only can you change the fate of others, you can also change your own." "Why should I change my fate?" Xiangyi said indifferently. "I don't believe in fate. I only believe in myself." Number 1018 said, "Because in the book Best Actor of the Entertainment Industry, you don't have a good ending." "Is that so?" Number 1018 said, "You didn't have this authority initially, but I've gotten it for you. Next, I'll unlock your script of fate." With a ding, a large piece of information was transmitted to Xiangyi's mind. In the plot sent by the system, she followed the trajectory of her life and got engaged to someone. In the end, she was betrayed and her family was ruined by her fiancé. Seeing her brothers die in a fire because of her, Xiangyi's fingertips curled up and trembled slightly. But she quickly calmed down. It couldn't be true. Even if she was blinded by love, her brothers would not be so stupid. There must be something wrong with this so-called original work. She asked calmly, "So I have to conquer Sure Sui in order to change my fate?" "That's right. Sure Sui is the male lead of this world. He has the halo of a male lead, and the will of this world will side with him unconditionally." Xiangyi looked at Sure Sui thoughtfully. Even if the system had human-like thoughts, it was not a real person after all. It had algorithmic logic. Therefore, as long as they followed the correct path, they could deduce their motives. The clues started to connect. Binding the system, conquering Sure Sui, rewriting fate, all of this had something to do with Sure Sui. Maybe the system wasn't targeting her, but it was directed at Sure Sui. Number 1018 was still guiding her patiently. "Host, do you really not want to consider using a card? Or you can use points to exchange for items. I recommend you to use the beautifying filter. It can help you become more beautiful." "No need." Xiangyi coldly refused. "I remember that points can be given away, right? Help me give them to Lingyi." The noisy number 1018 suddenly fell into silence. Chapter 621. Xiangyi narrowed her eyes. "What's wrong? Is there a problem?" After a few seconds, number 1018 politely said, "Host, the Lingyi you're talking about is someone from this world. You need to know his real name before you can give him points." The next second, Xiangyi said, "Sui." "Ah." Number 1018 was shocked. It didn't expect Xiangyi to know Ling Ye's real name. Why would Ling Yi tell her this? It quickly calculated the consequences if Xiangyi knew that Ling Yi had been killed. After thinking for a while, number 1018 finally decided to lie. "Host, the points have been given to you. Thank you. Please turn on the shielding mode." "Am I being despised again?" Xiangyi's heart sank after she was done with the test. The prerequisite for giving out points was that the other party's soul had to be alive. However, she couldn't be sure if the system would lie or not. Sister, my hand feels much better. Wander's surprised voice pulled Xiangyi back to reality. She calmed herself down and looked at Wander's hand. Just now, Elder Yin gave him a massage, Elder Jing gave him 2 needles, and Elder Fong wrapped him with a wrist guard wrapped with medicinal herbs. He didn't know what was added in it, but it automatically heated up and wrapped around his wrist. In just a short while, Wander already felt that his wrist had recovered. Xiangyi said softly, "It's just a relief, not a cure. I think it'll take a long time for you to be completely healed." Wander became nervous again. He thought it would take 3 to 5 years, or even longer. His career wouldn't last that long. The young girl's face tensed up as she said earnestly, "I'll be able to recover 90% in 3 months. Wander, the other players, only 3 months?" Xiangyi saw that they were all dumbfounded. She thought it was because they thought it was too long. She clenched her fists and said, "Then I'll work harder and strive for 2.5 months. If it's 2 months, I'm afraid it'll be a little difficult, but we can still give it a try." Wander was so happy that he almost fainted. It was as if he had drunk 2 liters of fake wine. It's okay. 3 months is good enough. I can do it. I will cooperate fully." Elder Fong and the others were very pleased. What doctors were most afraid of was not difficult and complicated diseases, but that the patient would not cooperate with them after painstakingly researching a treatment plan. "Young man, don't worry. We'll do our best." Wander was terrified and thanked him profusely. Xiangyi looked at the time. It was almost time for dinner. She stood up and said, "The original plan was to eat hot pot. What do you think? Should we hold a vote? Or should I cook a few more dishes?" To others, it was troublesome, but to her, it was sweet as syrup. Everyone said, "No need. Hot pot is fine." Xiangyi nodded. "Then I'll make a few 9-grid dishes and prepare more ingredients. Everyone can cook whatever you want." Just as she was about to enter the kitchen, she was stopped by Elder Fong and the others. Elder Fong said, "Disciple, I've asked someone to cook some bird's nest. Drink it first." Elder Yin said, "My dear disciple, it's been hard on you. Come, I brought you some supplements. You can eat them when you have nothing to do." Elder Jing secretly cursed the 2 old men for secretly sending gifts. He refused to admit defeat and said, "I've also prepared some herbs for you. You can use them to make wine or medicine." The netizens were confused. Why do these old men look more and more like kindergartners competing with each other? Chapter 6:22. Xiang was displeased to hear that. He took out a card from his pocket and said, "Recording shows every day is tiring. Give yourself a day off and don't come back until you've spent all the money on this card." The netizens were dumbfounded. When can I have such a simple and unpretentious grandfather? Indeed, regardless of gender, age, or gender, they all look so handsome when they take out their cards. I'm so envious of Sister E. She has her brother doting on her, her grandfather doting on her, and a few big bosses as her masters. Don't forget that she has an award-winning boyfriend. Asterisk smile, asterisk smile, asterisk. Xiangyi had no choice but to drink the bird's nest soup from Old Master Fong and accept the gifts from Old Master Yun and Old Master Jing, as well as the black and gold card from Old Master Fong. She entered the kitchen and Shui followed her. The number of viewers, which had initially stagnated, began to rise again. The 2 of them were in the same room. Wow! Li Jinyu personally went to the kitchen to film. Although he had long expected it, he was still so excited that his hands trembled a little when he heard that Sister E and Shui were really together. It took him a long time to calm down. "I'll prepare the soup base first. I'll wash and peel the vegetables then. Be careful with your hands." The interaction between the 2 of them was beyond many people's expectations. It wasn't that grand. On the contrary, they were like an old couple, plain yet warm. Xiangyi would help Shui put on a cute lace apron, while Shui would lower his head and carefully roll up Xiangyi's sleeves for her. He even helped her tie her hair into 2 buns. "I look like Neza," Xiangyi said as she turned her head. Shui pinched her left bun and said, "You're very cute." Such a simple daily interaction caused the netizens to flood the screen with comments. She's so sweet. I'm dying of sweetness. Head pressing team, move out. Kiss. Kiss her. Sure, Sway, can you do it? Do you think I'm lacking in popularity? Give me something that's not suitable for children, okay? The two of them went to prepare the ingredients separately and occasionally communicated with each other. They didn't talk much, but they didn't feel awkward. It was a very comfortable way of getting along. However, Li Jinyu did not let the two of them off and conducted a short interview. She asked Xianxia first, "How is Sister Yi feeling right now?" Xianxia's answer could be said to be a straightforward woman. "I'm going to eat hot pot. I'm happy." Li Jinyu. "And? After all, Sure Sui and I have already made our relationship public." The girl raised her head and solemnly promised the camera, "I will treat him well and spoil him like a little prince." Puffed. Why do I feel like Sister Yi took the male lead script? Li Jinyu laughed out loud. Most of the viewers in the bullet screen were overwhelmed by the sweetness, but a small number of Sure Sui sisters couldn't accept the reality. "I'm no longer a fan. I can't be a fan anymore. I'm too tired. He's such a bootlicker." That's true. If she didn't lick Shuringdi's boots, why would he care about her? Looks like the vase fairy is taking the initiative. It's easy for a girl to chase a guy. Shuringdi is just interested in her for a while. He'll kick her away sooner or later. It was Li Jinyu's turn to interview Sure Sui. "Daddy Sure, is there anything you'd like to say?" Sure Sui was peeling potatoes with a peeler. His slender and fair hands were like a work of art, but at this moment, they were stained with the aura of the mortal world. Peeling potatoes is much more difficult than acting. Li Jinyu, birds of a feather flock together. How does it feel to have an official announcement with Sister Yi? The man had an excellent sense of the camera. He raised his eyes and smiled with his peach blossom eyes, looking affectionate and affectionate. "Thank you, Sister Yi, for finally giving me a proper status. Hello, everyone. I'm actor Sure Sui." "Me too. I'm Xianxi's boyfriend, Sure Sui." Chapter 623. This smile really gave off a feeling that the surrounding scenery was full of color and fragrance. It was breathtaking and mesmerizing. It was a powerful and shocking blow to the heart. The netizens seemed to have gone crazy as they flooded the screen with comments. He give birth to a child soon and have a blissful marriage for 100 years. Shuringdi's attitude. So it's not a woman chasing a man, but a man chasing a woman. Are you there? Will Sister Yi give me a status too? I'm willing to be one of the 3,000 beauties in your harem. Not to mention the netizens. Even Li Jinyu's hand, which was holding the camera, couldn't help but tremble. Coquettish, too coquettish. As expected of my daddy, sure. He teased. Ha ha ha, daddy. You'll probably have a new name in the future. Sister Yi's boyfriend. Xianxia put down the peppercorns in her hand, turned her face, and said seriously, Sure Sui is Sure Sui, and he is him. Li Jinyu was stunned. Ruan Qing chimed in time and said in an elegant and intellectual female voice, "That's right, Sure Sui is still Sure Sui, and Sister Yi is still Sister Yi. What has changed is that I and you have become we." Sure Sui chuckled. "Yes, it's we." The tips of Xianxi's ears were a little red. She tried to cover up her embarrassment by pouring the peppercorns. However, the girl who could toss an iron pot of dozens of kilograms without trembling had accidentally poured too much peppercorns. She pretended as if nothing had happened and scooped out the extra peppercorns. But this scene did not escape the eyes of the netizens. Look at Sister Yi's ears. They're red. My heart is melting. Why is my daughter so cute even when she's shy? Wow, whose voice is that? It sounds so good, actually. I know directorly doesn't mean any harm, but that female voice just now seemed to have sublimated the concept. At this moment, Meow TV, the executives gathered in the conference room. They didn't want to admit it, but they had to. They were witnessing the birth of a miracle. The number of online viewers of Two Under One Roof had already exceeded 13 million. Not only was such a figure unprecedented, it was almost certain that it would be difficult to surpass it in the future. So Li Jinyu was from Meow TV. Ruan Qing was also from Meow TV. If they had stayed, Wouldn't this glory belong to the TV tower? Unfortunately, there were no ifs in this world. The numbers in the live stream were still rising, but the executives in the conference room were not happy, especially after hearing Ruanqing's words. Many people secretly acknowledged her ability. Speaking of which, although Ruanqing is a woman, she is indeed quite capable. Once she left, she took a lot of our connections with her. Several of our collaborations with Nanxing TV have been suspended. They said that they will only recognize her and not anyone else. I agreed to Li Jianyu's proposal back then. Sigh, it's such a pity. Who asked some people to cause our TV station to suffer so much for their own selfish interests? Where there were workplaces, there were often factions. Muyao TV was the same. Several factions fought with each other and finally focused their firepower on a certain minister. It was he who rejected Li Jianyu's proposal and instructed Director Chun to plagiarize Li Jianyu's show. Unfortunately, whether it was the heartbeat signal or eating well for all 3 meals, they were just imitations that made a fool of themselves. You can write your resignation letter now. Chapter 624. No, the man's face was ashen, but he knew that in a sense, his career had come to an end, and all of this was because he had dug his own grave. He looked at the station head with resentment. The station head was clearly at fault too, so why was he the only one who left? Some people were also secretly dissatisfied. Li Jianyu's matter was still acceptable, but Ruanqing's departure could be said to be all because of the station head. Did he not have to pay any price? The next second, the door of the conference room was pushed open. It was a notice from the higher-ups. Content: the station head of Muyao Satellite TV station will be replaced. In an instant, there was an uproar. The station head, who had just fired someone else, was stunned. He never expected that he would be fired too. At the manor, the preparation of the hot pot might be difficult for others, but for Xianxia, it was like a fish in water. Firstly, Little Rabbit Farm was rich in produce. Secondly, Xianxia had all the seasonings that could be bought on the market. Thirdly, there was soup stock at home, which did not lose out to the taste of the old restaurants. Soon, Xianxia prepared a few large pots of soup base. In the double-sided pot, there was beef chili and tomato soup. In the 4-square grid, there were wild mushrooms, seafood, green pepper chili, and clear soup. As for the 9-square grid, it was a traditional Sichuan-style spicy pot. It followed the principle of same base with different fire, same soup without oil. The temperature of each pot was different. The middle grid had a strong fire, which was suitable for cooking crispy and easy-to-cook food. The cross grid had a weaker fire, but the fire was even, which was suitable for cooking food that needed to be heated for a long time. The 4-square grid had a mild fire, which was suitable for slow stewing, which made the food soft and glutinous. The younger members of Team Logic took the initiative to help clear out a few tables. There were many people today, but their ages varied. Xianxia did not force everyone to sit at the same table. Instead, she let everyone choose according to their preferences. In the end, a few of the younger members chose the 9-square grid. The youths were not particular about it. They sat cross-legged around the coffee table, sweating from the hot pot. The others chose the double-sided pot and sat at the table by the floor-to-ceiling window. There was the scenery outside, and inside there was the company of friends, as well as Director Li, who had sneaked in to freeload, the netizens complained. They had never seen a director who could eat so much. Are you here to film a variety show, or to eat? On the other hand, Xianxia, old Mr. Fong, Grandpa, and the others ate 4 servings of food. Shui accompanied them the entire time and didn't eat much himself. Instead, he was like a waiter, silently cooking for everyone at the table. In the beginning, everyone thought that hot pot was all about the atmosphere and not the taste. But when the cooked ingredients enter the mouth, F asterisk CK. This mutton was too tender and fresh. Why was this tripe so crispy and smooth? And this black-boned chicken roll, after soaking in the wild mushroom soup, it's so fragrant. In addition, the sesame sauce was fragrant, but not greasy. The Xianxia sauce was sweet, spicy, and salty, and the chili powder was spicy and delicious. Xianxia had even prepared a few secret seasonings. It was delicious even when it was dipped in plain water, not to mention when it was paired with such delicious soup base and ingredients. 2. Good. Eat. Yes. The younger brothers moved their chopsticks like the wind, and director Li snatched the food even faster. As soon as the ingredients were cooked, they were immediately divided up. Even though Grandpa Fong and the others were experienced and knowledgeable, they were still convinced by Xiangyi's hot pot. Elder Yun said, "My beloved disciple, why don't you come back with me? I can teach you medical skills." Elder Jing said, "My good disciple, ignore him. How can I let you run around and tire yourself out? I can come to your house to teach." Grandpa Fong stroked his beard, satisfied with the food, and said slowly, "My disciple, I've been looking for a place where I can study medicine in peace. I wonder if you're willing to let me stay for a few days?" Elder Yun and Elder Jing were speechless. Bah, old man, shameless. Chapter 625. Originally, I thought you were the most noble, but I didn't expect you to be so shameless. The netizens watching the live stream couldn't stop laughing. Our sister E is really popular with the elders. Ha ha. These grandfathers are so cute. Shocking. To think that the top 3 medical experts in China would do such a thing for a young girl. Good guy. I won't read any of the headlines without you in the future. Elder Jing sneered. You have so many disciples. Why do you insist on my good disciple? Do you think my obedient disciple is easy to bully? Elder Fong smiled again. Why? Are you jealous that I have students all over the world? Old Jing, you've only accepted Xiangyi as your disciple after so many years. You should reflect on yourself. Elder Jing, ? Taking a sip of the mushroom soup, Elder Yun teased. Those who don't know would think that you're homeless and can't even find a place to study medicine. Elder Fong smiled. Wherever my disciple is, that's where my home is. Elder Yun, ? All right, little brother, you're awesome. To hold one's fist just as old Mr. Fong was feeling smug, he heard Xiangyi humping coldly. Did you ask for my permission to take Xiangyi in as your disciple? The 3 of them felt guilty. Some netizens were puzzled. Xiangyi's grandfather, your words are too harsh. It's your granddaughter's blessing that the 3 big shots have taken her in. Why are you blaming them? Someone immediately came out to explain. If other people say this, it's called having no EQ and no brain. But there's really nothing wrong with Xiangyin's words. I suggest you go and find out more about Xiangyin's life. Although he's about the same age as old Mr. Fong and the others, he has a high seniority in the traditional Chinese medicine industry, and his medical skills are superb. To put it bluntly, even old Mr. Fong has to address him as Uncle Master. The netizens were in a daze. It turns out the arrogant old man is actually a hidden king. The Xiang clan's genes were worthy of respect. Facing Xiangyin's sharp gaze, Elder Jing's gaze flickered while Elder Yun's hands trembled slightly. Even Elder Fong could not maintain his composure. I'm already in my 60s. What's wrong with taking a disciple? Elder Jing began to act shamelessly. Ahem, Elder Xiang, aren't we nurturing good seedlings for the Chinese medicine industry? Elder Yun said in a dignified manner. Elder Fong pondered for a moment and actually tried to worm his way into being friends. Old Xiang, we're all brothers. Your granddaughter is our granddaughter, and your little rabbit is our little rabbit. Don't you think so? Xiangyin was speechless. What the hell? Who are you calling Old Xiang? Elder Yun and Elder Jing instantly felt deep respect for Elder Fong. Brother, you're a dead man. The interaction between the elderly group attracted countless people's laughter. Xiangyi sat at the side and smiled obediently. Shui poured tea for the elders and did not forget to use the serving chopsticks to pick up Xiangyi's favorite duck blood and bean sprouts. Xiangyi's eyes curved into crescents as she picked up Shui's favorite bamboo shoots for him. In the dense water vapor, the 2 of them looked at each other and smiled. The world seemed to brighten and warm. The years were peaceful, and life was peaceful. Nothing more than this. Countless people took screenshots of this scene and circulated it on the internet for many years to come. The fans of the untimely couple were so excited that they screamed in the comment section. Get married! Get married on the spot! I believe in love again. I'm back. Shui is my husband, and Sister E is my wife. What's wrong with my husband and wife being together? Shurshui's sister and Spicy Tutu, who were crying, saw this. Huh? There seems to be nothing wrong with it? Chapter 626. The two groups of fans accepted the reality in a trance. The comment was screenshotted by a netizen and submitted to a commenter. Once it was posted, it attracted the attention of countless silly netizens. Is there something wrong with him? There's nothing wrong with him. I wish my husband and wife 99 dog heads. With all due respect, I advise Shurshui and Xianxia not to be so ungrateful. Go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get your marriage certificate. Don't force them to kneel down and beg you to get married, okay? After lunch, the group of energetic young men took the initiative to do farm work while Old Master Fong and the others argued over the choice of a room. After Old Master Fong took the lead, Old Master Yin and Old Master Jing also expressed their desire to stay. The group of old men who were almost 200 years old began to roll up their sleeves while arguing. I saw this room first. Bullshit. I was the one who saw it first. Huh. Did you write your names on it? Xianxia didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She tried her best to mediate between them and finally appeased her three masters. When she turned around, she realized that her grandfather was angry. She hurriedly coaxed him. After calling him Grandpa sweetly a few times, Xianxia finally looked a little better. He stroked the handle of his walking stick and said seriously, "Their medical skills are just so. If there's anything they don't know, they could just ask me." In the entire traditional Chinese medicine industry, there were very few people who dared to say that. Xianxia began to flatter him softly. "I know, Grandpa, you're the best person in the world." Xianxia tried his best to keep a straight face, but he was still coaxed happily. He couldn't help but grin smugly. So, they're not very good. They just know a little about it. In a live stream, Xianxia is so pretentious. I'm calling him an expert. A little about it? I'm a medical student. I'm kneeling down to you. It's good to see a side of the big shots that no one knows about. It's not that they're good at it. It's because of Sister E. How can an ordinary variety show director invite such an impressive guest? After coaxing Xianxia was thinking about the menu for dinner when she suddenly saw Old Master Fong and the other two masters coming out one after another with grave expressions. "Disciple, Master has an urgent matter and needs to go out for a while. I'll leave these prescriptions for you to study slowly. My beloved disciple, you can take a look at these recipes when you're free." Elder Fong and Elder Yin stuffed a few books into Xianxia's hands. The young girl's face was blank and uneasy. Good disciple. Elder Jing's temper was the most eccentric, and his words were also poisonous. But in front of Xianxia, he was a kind and cute little old man. "Master has nothing to give you. Keep these notes well." A few more books appeared in the girl's hands. As soon as he finished speaking, the three of them didn't waste any more words and left. They were old, and their backs were not as straight as before, but their temperament was even more upright than a pine tree. However, for some reason, it was tainted with a desolate atmosphere. It was as if they weren't the ones who were arguing over the room. There was a lot of discussion in the live broadcast room. Why does it feel like the three big shots are entrusting their children to her? You guys are thinking too much. You've probably come to your senses and think that Xianxia is just so. There are still people who are slandering Sister E. I suggest you consult a psychiatrist. If you don't use your brain, you can donate it to someone who needs it. Xianxia frowned and vaguely guessed something. He gently stroked his obedient and gentle granddaughter's head. "Tutu, if you want to learn, just don't. Don't tire yourself out. Eat well and sleep well. Just be well. Grandpa is going out for a while." He sighed and continued. "You don't have to wait for me to come back." Chapter 627. It had been a few minutes since Xianxia left, but Xianxia was still standing rooted to the ground, without moving a single step. She subconsciously dug her nails into her palms and forced herself to calm down to speculate about what had happened. Actually, it wasn't that hard to guess. A word popped up in her mind. Xianxia closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, she gestured for the cameraman to stop filming. Although old Zhang was puzzled, he still turned off the camera. Xianxia first went to the director's office to explain the situation to Li Jinyu. "So, I might not be able to participate in the live stream anymore. Li Jinyu was dumbfounded. Sister, you don't want to reconsider? Ruan Qing was much calmer. She asked, have you made up your mind? Xianxia nodded. As expected of our sister, Ruan Qing smiled and pinched Xiangyi's little face. Go ahead, be careful. We'll all be here waiting for you to come back. Xiangyi pursed her lips. She had never liked to cause trouble for others, but now she had no choice but to cause trouble for the entire production crew. There were so many things that she wanted to say, but she was at a loss for words. In the end, she said gently, thank you. Li Jinyu reacted and said, hey, Sister E, why are you thanking us? We should be thanking you instead. To be honest, without you, this show might not have been able to get off the ground. If it weren't for Sister E, Mr. Sure wouldn't have agreed to participate in the live stream at all. Even if Daddy Sure agreed, Two Under One Roof would never have become the Two Under One Roof it was today without Xianxia. It was the two of them who created this miracle in the history of variety shows. Ruan Qing's focus was more detailed. She asked gently, have you told Sure Sui about your decision? Xianxia answered, no. She hesitated for a moment and asked, how should I coax him? Li Jinyu said, this involves a blind spot in my knowledge. Ruan Qing said, I'm afraid there's nothing we can do about this. The only one who can do it is Sister E. There was a look of confusion in her eyes. After a moment, she encouraged herself. I'll try. Sure Sui received a message from Xianxia, asking him to go back to his room. He did as he was told. Closing the door, the young actor looked down at the chat box. Xiangyi's profile picture had never changed. It was a chubby cartoon bunny. It was said that it was designed by Xianxia, Shangchun, Xiangli, Xiangyu, and the others had all made a few changes. It could be said that all of them participated in drawing it for his sister. He waited for a while, but there was no response. Sure Sui tapped the screen with her fingertips, and a simple and clean input method popped up. In the next second, there was a rustling sound from the balcony. He saw the young girl holding the partition with one hand and flipping over with ease. She was both valiant and handsome. Sure Sui raised her eyebrows and walked to the balcony quietly. It was the first time that Xianxia had done something like flipping over the balcony. She had an inexplicable guilty conscience. She took 2 deep breaths, turned around, and bumped into the man's warm and broad arms. The young girl raised her small face slightly. Her doe eyes were clear, as if they were filled with moonlight. Sure Sui, she called out softly. In this world, countless people had called his name, but no one had called him as gently and softly as she had. His heart palpitated. Sure Sui grabbed her small hand and wiped the dust off it carefully and patiently. I'm going on a long trip because I'm worried about Grandpa, Xianxia said with some difficulty. Her hand was suddenly held tightly. Are you coming back? Sure Sui asked in a hoarse voice. Xianxia wavered for a moment. Chapter 628. But it was only for a moment. The girl was calm as usual, but her heart was full of guilt. I'm sorry. Sure Sui stared at her quietly for a long time. I'll wait for you. These 3 words were his promise. Xiangyi's nose was sore, and she tried to smile. Is there anything you want to eat? You can make a list for me. The wind blew, and 2 strands of the man's hair fell back. His eyes were deep, and the curve of his peach blossom eyes was slightly sharp. As if he was afraid of scaring Xianxia, his long black eyelashes drooped, hiding the unfathomable emotions in his eyes. He whispered, Sister E, I just want you to eat well. I will. Then when you come back, I'll cook instant noodles for you. His slightly calloused fingers rubbed the girl's thin wrist. The kind with cheese, ham, pickles, crab steak, fish tofu. Junk food, Xianxia said seriously. I like it the most. Remove the first half of the sentence. Suddenly, the man closed the distance between them. The height difference brought about a sense of oppression. He faced the light, and his edges and corners were blurred, gentle and clear. Sure Sui's voice was husky and magnetic. Sister E, coax me, okay? He was afraid that he would not be able to control himself. It was not difficult to make her stay. He had even had more paranoid thoughts than this. Just like what his father did to his mother, locking her up, trapping her, and monopolizing her. But those dark and paranoid thoughts were all suppressed by him. Because in that case, Tutu would be sad. Xiangyi's ears were hot, but she followed his wishes and said gently, "Sure, Sui, I like you the most." After a while, Sure Sui sighed in a low voice. "It's worth it," he said. One word from her was enough. Xiangyi said, "Take good care of yourself. If you don't want to cook, order takeout. If you don't want to broadcast, slack off. If the guests are annoying, ignore them. Anyway, don't make yourself suffer." Sure Sui stood there silently. She was even more stunning than a meticulously photographed pictorial. And Sure Sui thought that she still had something to say, but her neck was suddenly wrapped around by the little girl. Then there was a smacking sound. A light kiss landed on his jaw. Sure Sui couldn't help laughing. "Girlfriend, are you trying to take advantage of me before you leave?" Xiangyi was puzzled. "Does kissing my boyfriend count as taking advantage of him? My husband doesn't count." Xiangyi came back to her senses and cleared her throat. "You're quite farsighted. Prepare for a rainy day." Unexpectedly, the little girl's next sentence was, "I think I'm thinking even further than you. I'm secretly thinking about our future children. What should we name them?" Sure Sui was slightly stunned. So, she had thought about their future? Xiangyi, who had spoken her mind, was so shy that she tried to slip away with her hands and feet, but the man grabbed her collar. Whoosh! The fair and slender girl was pressed against the wall of the balcony. The hand around her waist suddenly tightened, and what followed was a warm and passionate touch. Thump, 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 the heartbeat, the dazzling sunlight, the faint fragrance of flowers, the sour mood, the hot body temperature, and everything that made her dizzy and confused. Sure Sui's voice was hoarse as he spoke softly and softly. "I'll let you take advantage of me, okay?" At the same time, in the director's office, Li Jinyu, who came back after smoking a cigarette, suddenly realized that although Xiangyi had stopped filming, she had forgotten to turn off her microphone. At this moment, the number of online viewers in the live stream had reached an astonishing number, 20 million. Chapter 629. I'm dead. I'm going to say it 10,000 times. Untimely is real. KSWL. What kind of sweet biscuit is in the entertainment industry? I'm smiling like an ant in front of the screen. What are the major brands waiting for? Hurry and sponsor Sure Sui's sister Yi's wedding. At this moment, the fans of the untimely CP were in a frenzy, and the netizens were the most excited to watch the show. They dominated the hot search list on Weibo, from 1 to 10. Hashtag Sure Sui and Xiangyi hashtag Xiangyi forgot to turn off the microphone hashtag untimely is real hashtag what's a good name for the child hashtag two under one roof sets a new record hashtag. The passersby were dumbfounded when they saw the hot search list at first. After clicking on it, they realized that there wasn't even a video and that it was just an audio clip. However, after listening to the edited version, Sister E, coax me, huh? Sure Sui, I like you the most. I'll let you take advantage of me, okay? The passersby were flabbergasted. Damn it, why is it so sweet? Hubby, honey, you must be happy. If I commit a crime, the law will punish me, not Sure Sui and Xiangyi. No, I can't take it anymore. There's a blister at the corner of my mouth. It took me a long time to heal, but now that I'm smiling, it's going to split open again. In the director's office, Li Jinyu was dumbfounded for a few seconds, and he frantically cut off the live stream. It would have been better if he hadn't cut off the live stream. The public opinion had completely exploded. All the netizens began to imagine. I don't lack this bit of traffic. Continue. Let me continue listening. Director Li, if you dare to continue the live stream, I'll dare to call you Daddy. Daddy, I'm kneeling down in front of you. Look at me. That sound just now was a kiss, right? So, it won't be an M next? Damn it. I'm already imagining a family of 3 live stream together. Sister E is cooking, Sure Sui is nurturing the baby, and Xiao Naofu and little Shiji showing their affection. It's so perfect. In the director's office, Li Jinyu muttered, "This is considered a live broadcast accident, right?" The others were so scared that they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Usually, there would be people keeping an eye on him. It was really a coincidence just now. In those 2 minutes, everyone happened to go out. That was why this accident happened. Ruanqing was the calmest among all of them. She gave out orders in an orderly manner. Soon, everyone returned to their respective positions. Someone restarted the live stream and switched the camera to the younger brother of Team Logic. Someone contacted the public relations team to discuss emergency response strategies. There were also people who were responsible for keeping an eye on the public opinion online in real time, as well as various statistics in the live stream. Not long after, a weak voice came from the corner. Director Li Jinyu was extremely nervous. Huh? What? What happened? WWE just broke the record. All the data has reached the peak since the start of the live broadcast. Everyone in the program team gathered around. When they saw the astonishing 20 million online viewers at the peak, it could be said that men were silent and women were crying. Li Jinyu was dumbfounded. This works too? He had once thought that he would never be able to reach the data, but he had achieved it just like that. Ruanqing was also silent for more than 10 seconds. She exhaled and said, "Perhaps this accident was not a mistake, but a blessing from the heavens. Time, fate, and luck. Strength and luck combined to form a miracle." While the entire internet was celebrating, the people in the industry were paying attention to something else from today onwards. Two Under One Roof would be completely recorded in the history of variety shows. It had become a god. Chapter 630. For a moment, many people felt upset. Some were emotional, some were envious, and some were jealous. However, they were no longer disdainful. As for Muyao TV, it was once again brought up for ridicule. Buying the casket and returning the pearls, how ridiculous. After forcing Li Jinyu and Ruanqing away, I even secretly copied their idea. In the end, I still got beaten up. Now that eating well for all 3 meals was going downhill, Eve and Jiang were not as popular as before after the failure of the last live stream and the scandal. There were rumors in the industry that Muyao TV had come to terms with reality and had begun planning a new live stream variety show. Although they would not give up on eating well for all 3 meals, they would not give more resources to it. The loyal fans of Two Under One Roof were overjoyed when they found out that their treasure had broken the record. However, everyone soon realized one thing. Where did Sistery go? The live stream was still going on, and many scenes were cut to Xianxia. The man was still calm and restrained, slowly watering Xianxia's plants and trimming the branches and leaves. Then he went to feed the chickens, ducks, geese, and even led Logic's brothers to the mountains to pick wild vegetables. However, the group of men did not know what vegetables were and picked a bunch of poisonous mushrooms and inedible grass, which attracted the merciless ridicule of the audience. The younger brothers were noisy, as if they were teenagers on an excursion in their school days. Xianxia was not in the mood to play, and he was cold and aloof the entire time. His cap was pulled down very low, and he exuded a low pressure. He frequently took out his phone, but all the messages he sent were like stones in the sea. His sister did not reply to his messages. Xianxia was about to explode in anger, but he also felt very aggrieved. Grandpa and sister just left without saying goodbye. Don't I even have the right to know? Some netizens noticed his abnormality. Is Smog unhappy? Why does he look so good even when he's angry? Speaking of which, don't you guys feel that not only is Sameo Gurong, but Xianxia seems a little unhappy too? The netizens observed carefully for a while, but they couldn't tell what they were feeling. However, Xianxia was different. When Xianxia was around, he didn't talk much, but his eyes were soft and his tone was gentle. Now that Xianxia was not around, he still treated people politely and no one could find fault with him. However, if one really looked into it, one would find that there was a sense of alienation. He spoke much less than before. There were all kinds of speculations in the live broadcast room. Speaking of which, old Mr. Fong, old Mr. Xiang, and the others are talking so strangely. Could it be that some big shot is sick? Should they join hands to treat it? Xianxia also went over to help. Then it's enough for Master and Grandpa to go. Why should Xianxia go? Wasn't that just adding to the chaos? Aren't you afraid of offending someone important? The netizens gossiped until night fell. It was almost dinner time. Shui threw a tablet to her brothers and said, "Order whatever you want." His younger brothers looked at him eagerly and started talking at once. "Where's my sister?" "Sister, you're not coming back tonight? What does big sister like to eat? I'll order for her." Shui said calmly. She went out. "I see." Her younger brothers were a little regretful. Looking at how pitiful they were, Shui frowned slightly and said, "I'll go cook some porridge." It turned out that he had unknowingly been affected by Xianxia. Upon hearing this, the group of Shui's sisters who had been making a fuss about leaving him began to make a fuss again. Is there something wrong with Xianxia? Why is she running around instead of cooking at home? Is Shui's hand supposed to be used for cooking? I've been in bad shape lately, so I need to adjust myself. Go to bed early. Good night. Chapter 631. She's just a delicate flower vase. How can she take good care of our Xianxia? How can we be at ease handing Xianxia over to such a woman? Shui, wake up. As long as you break up with Xianxia, I'm willing to continue being your fan. Otherwise, I'll stop being your fan. The passers-by had the same reaction. What? What's the matter? Are all of you going to the Oscars ceremony soon? Aren't you tired of adding so many scenes for yourself every day? Spicy Tutu and the CP fans immediately taught them how to behave. Ball, hurry up and stop being Shui's fans. Don't embarrass Shui sis. What era is it now that men are superior to women? Both men and women should be responsible for household chores. Why does sister, you have to take care of Shui? There's a Buddhist saying that goes, Buddha's heart appears. In plain English, it means that you're whatever you see others as. You're always scolding our sistery. You must be having a hard time in real life. Smile, smile. Those people were in the minority. After a while, they realized that they couldn't win the scolding war, so they changed their route and tried to find Xianxia. These people were originally in the same group. After discussing angrily for a long time, they finally wrote a condemnation article and submitted it to an influential Weibo account on Weibo. After their perseverance, there really was a blogger who posted this article, but it was posted as a joke. Smiley face, Showbiz Circle V. Today's confusing article will be posted for everyone to enjoy. He even used a red pen to highlight a few of the weirdest sentences. Xianxia doesn't know what the 3 obediences and 4 virtues are. This shows that she doesn't follow the traditional Chinese culture. Girls are supposed to take care of their boyfriends and husbands. Isn't it natural for women to take care of men? Xianxia always claims that she's a fair, rich, and beautiful woman. This will put pressure on Shui. How many couples can be happy with a strong woman and a weak man? She should behave herself and keep a low profile to save Xianxia some face. The netizens? What the hell? What era is this? Why are there still such futile thoughts? For a moment, the netizens collectively mocked him. He even tagged Shui's fan club and several of her biggest fans. Soon, Shui's official fan club posted an update on Weibo. I hope everyone can follow their idols rationally. The purpose of chasing idols is to make yourself better, but the most important thing is to shine, not just be illuminated. Red Heart. Shui's big fans didn't hold back. This kind of person doesn't deserve to be Shui's fan, okay? I suggest you all be expelled as fans. What kind of twisted mentality is this to destroy something you can't get? If you like someone because you can't get what you want, you'll make yourself detestable. That's really sad. After being mocked like this, those people finally stopped jumping around. However, the dramatic reversal came too quickly. Spicy Tutu followed the author's ID and found the author's Weibo account. Then, she found out that the author was actually selling the so-called female ethics online class. Moreover, there were hundreds of members in the group. Spicy Bunny smiled and reported it to the internet police without scolding or insulting. The cyber police immediately intervened with amazing efficiency and soon solved the case. This author wasn't a real idol chaser at all. He was just selling the class under the guise of idol chasers for profit. There were already more than 1,000 victims. Now, they were all wiped out in one fell swoop. Chapter 632. Nowadays, the cyber police were keeping up with the trends of the times and they attached great importance to the operation of new media. They immediately posted on Weibo to praise Spicy Tutu. Nanxing Cyber Police official, a little red flower for Spicy Tutu. Don't forget to help solve the case while chasing after your idol. Tonight, we'll have spicy rabbit head and dog head for supper. Also, let me remind you that the internet is not an illegal place. Everyone is welcome to report criminal activities at any time and make Weibo a clean and harmonious surfing environment. The official Weibo account also reposted this Weibo post to express their attitude. The netizens burst into laughter on the spot. The main characters were holding a banner while the fans were holding little red flowers. The official Weibo account was full of praise. What kind of magical existences were Xianxia and Spicy Tutu? They were simply a breath of fresh air in the entertainment industry. At the same time, in the manor, the takeout had arrived. After eating the hot pot made by Xianxia for lunch, the boys lost their appetite in the face of the table full of takeout. It couldn't be helped. Without comparison, there would be no harm. They used to order takeout from this restaurant often. It was expensive, the ingredients were fresh, and the taste was good. However, with Zhuyu in front of them, the takeout could be said to be useless. After Shui finished cooking the porridge, she brought the pot over. The porridge was a failure. Perhaps it was more appropriate to call it rice now. Some netizens speculated that Shui's heart might not be as calm as it seemed on the surface. The group of men didn't care about the details. They each had a big bowl of porridge, regardless of meat or vegetables. The takeout meat was mixed with the pickled vegetables that Xianxia had previously pickled and mixed with the rice before they started eating. This meal was completely different from the exquisite and sumptuous hot pot they had at noon. The netizens teased in the comments section. It's obvious that their mother isn't home. Sister E isn't around. The boys really don't wash their hands. The way the boys eat is really something. Eating hundreds of takeout meals per person makes them feel like they're eating pig swill. However, the audience felt awkward no matter how they looked at it. Without Sister E around, little La Duo really seemed different. She was usually quiet and didn't seem to have a presence. But the strange thing was that no one would ignore her. Now that she wasn't around, the audience was really not used to it. Moreover, without Sister E around, Shurindi felt very quiet and a little dejected. The younger brothers didn't dare to interact with him. Inexplicably, the number of people who spoke became fewer and fewer. In the end, everyone fell into silence. For the first time in history, there was an awkward silence in two under one roof. Li Jinyu, who was in the director's office, was having a headache. Even he felt awkward, let alone the audience watching the live broadcast. The number of online viewers also began to decrease. Now, in addition to eating well for 3 meals, a few other live broadcast variety shows had popped up. Seeing this, he quickly bought a water army to trample on them. The peak of prosperity is bound to decline. This variety show is about to come to an end. I'm dying of laughter. What kind of live broadcast is this? It's clearly a still image. To be honest, Shui's gentle and reserved personality is not suitable for variety shows. She doesn't have a sense of variety and is too awkward. The bullet screen was filled with arguments again. The fans of Two Under One Roof were furious. Clearly, Xiaopa had just set a record and was about to soar into the sky, riding the wind and breaking the waves. But in the end, he had just become a god, but he had already fallen from the altar. Even if you want to abuse your fans, you shouldn't do this. With nowhere to vent their anger, the only way to vent it was to criticize Xianxia. Is Xianxia going to ruin little La Duo? I've never been so disappointed in Xianxia. I feel like she's not responsible at all. XY is simply a double burden. She's causing trouble for old Mr. Fong and Shui. Doesn't she feel ashamed at all? Chapter 633. When Li Jinyu saw those comments, he wished he could roll up his sleeves and argue with the haters. What's wrong with these people's brains? They don't understand the situation at all, and yet they're criticizing Sister E. Sister E is so nice. What do they know? What right do they have to criticize Sister E? Li Jinyu was infuriated. Since the start of the variety show, the staff had been on very good terms with Xianxia. It was no exaggeration to say that Xianxia was now the favorite of the entire crew. Many staff members were busy during the day and had to help Xianxia fight the haters online at night. The more they got to know her, the more their hearts ached for her. Sister E is really a girl who deserves to be treated well by others. Ruan Qing folded her arms and remained silent, but there was an icy, cold aura around her. What's the point of criticizing her here? Her tone was much calmer than Li Jianyu's, making him feel a little ashamed. However, he heard her say in an elegant and intellectual voice, "Leave the public relations to me. I'll contact Tomato Entertainment and Mr. C now. As for you, register an account and contact them." Li Jianyu was dumbfounded. Huh? What's the matter? Don't you know how to be a keyboard warrior? Ming Yin asked with disdain in her eyes. Li Jianyu said with a dumbfounded expression, "Yes. Go now then." Okay. Li Jianyu took out his cell phone and began to register an account. The staff at the side were dumbfounded. Is she still the heartless demoness who only knows how to exploit others? Isn't she being too protective of Sister E? After Ruan Qing glared daggers at them, they shuddered. Let's register immediately, too. The sky gradually turned dark gray, and the lights flickered like flickering shadows. Xianxia met up with Xianxia at the airport. Old Mr. Fong and the others were there, too. When they saw Xianxia, they all frowned. Xianxia was so infuriated that he slammed his cane against the ground. What are you doing here? Is this a place where a child like you should come to? Go home now. Old Mr. Fong and the others had the same attitude. Because he really couldn't bear it. Because the girl left in a hurry, she didn't even take her coat and only wore a thin sweater. Her figure looked slender and thin, but her back was stretched into a straight line. She said calmly, "Grandpa, I'm not a child anymore. Firstly, I think my medical skills can come in handy. Secondly, I'm young. I can run and stay up late. Thirdly, you're my grandfather. I can't selfishly ask you to stay, but I can accompany you to fight side by side." Xiang Yin's lips quivered, and his chest heaved up and down violently. Even his voice was trembling. There were thousands and thousands of words that he wanted to say, but when he met the young girl's clear and resolute eyes, he couldn't say anything else. Forget it. Xiang Yin waved his hand wearily and said, "Come with me, but you have to promise me one thing. You must stay by my side." Xiang Yin nodded obediently. Elder Fong sighed. Good girl, good girl." Elder Yun and Elder Jing looked at each other and saw the reluctance in each other's eyes. Very soon, more and more people gathered. The atmosphere was solemn and silent. A special passage was opened at the airport, and everyone registered as quickly as possible. When a tourist passed by and saw this scene, he took a photo of it and posted it on his WeChat moments. Is this a middle-aged and elderly tour group? Ha ha ha. But there's a pretty girl in the group. She's fair and skinny, and she has a great aura. As soon as he posted it, he received a text message notification on his cell phone. Emergency notice. Unless absolutely necessary, do not go to the West Continent for the time being. Chapter 634. What the hell? It must be a rumor, the passenger lamented, not taking the news to heart. Due to work, he was going to the West Continent for a business trip later. However, an announcement suddenly sounded in the airport. Dear passengers heading to the West Continent, Flight F286 cannot take off on time due to weather conditions. We apologize. Dear passengers heading to the West Continent, Flight F355, a series of announcements sounded one after another. On the contrary, all the flights to the West Continent were canceled. Some people were immediately displeased. Didn't the weather forecast say that it would be sunny? Why are they canceled? Isn't that a waste of time? Hey, aren't those people at the boarding gate going to the West Continent too? Why can they fly, but we can't? You must give us an explanation. The surroundings were noisy and the passenger was extremely frustrated. He took out his mobile phone and was about to report the situation to his superior, only to find that there were a few more comments on his WeChat moments. He habitually clicked on them. Hit the workers spirit, hit the workers, you're above everyone else. Dog, huh? Are you going to the West Continent? I just saw the news saying that something seems to have happened there. Zoom in, the girl in the photo is my sister. Sheng Tu is so good at fighting. Can I move it to Super News? Please, he replied one by one, and suddenly remembered the news just now. He clicked on it again. When he finished reading the full text, his eyelids twitched in the manner. After dinner, the brothers said that it was time for the holidays, but they were still thinking about training, so they went back. Xianxia followed suit. Shui walked them to the gate. In the night, the man stood quietly in place for a while. The huge manor was extremely quiet at this moment, leaving only a person, a cat, and a dog. Xiao had no idea what was going on at all. It thought that Xianxia was just going out and that it could still eat her fresh shrimp and pumpkin rice the next morning. It inadvertently raised its cat face, only to discover that the dog man was strange. His gaze was gloomy, and his peach blossom-shaped eyes, which were usually affectionate when he smiled, were now sharp. He gave off a particularly dangerous vibe. Xiao took a few steps back, for fear that the dog man would take it to be neutered in a bad mood. It had yet to enjoy its life as a tiger, flirt with a tiger sister, and give birth to a tiger baby. Little Shiji nudged it with its warm breath, seemingly coaxing it. Shui lowered his eyes, glanced at the two of them, and walked back. The bullet screen was filled with emotions. Time empty nest, Shui. I'm not used to seeing Xianxia like this. I still prefer his warm smile when Sister E is around. As an artist, Xianxia doesn't do her job well and goes around doing useless things every day. Isn't everyone being too tolerant of her? She's simply disqualified as an artist. At this moment, Sichuanbai and Ruanqing's joint public relations statement was published. He wrote a few versions of the script, and, in the end, he used the simplest one. 2 under 1 roof. You look beautiful when you're going against the flow. Xianxia, the accompanying picture was of a young girl pulling her suitcase and running towards the sunset. Tomato Entertainment's official Weibo reposted the post with the caption, "Doctors are benevolent." Rose the fan club, Sichuanbai, and Anan's personal Weibo had all reposted it. At first, the netizens were a little confused until they saw the top trending topic on Weibo, #unknown disease outbreak, and Shizhou hashtag. They clicked on the topic, only to see that the most popular Weibo post was a picture of a gathering of big shots. Chapter 635. The original post was posted under Spicy Tutu's Twitter account. Yeah. I saw a photo of Sister E on my WeChat moments. She's so cute in real life. Xianxi's grandfather is so handsome too. Not to brag, but the Xiang family is so good-looking. At first, the comments below were all praises from Spicy Bunny, until someone pointed out, why are there so many big shots in the medical field? Old Fong, Old Yun, and Old Jing are all big shots in traditional Chinese medicine. There are also plenty of big shots in Western medicine. How many of them are on the same level as textbooks? This Weibo post reminded many people. That's true. I was fortunate enough to be on Old Ma's expert account before. How is this a middle-aged and elderly tour group? It's an ace tour group in the medical field. Oh my God, have you guys seen the news? Is it related to the incident in Shizhou? When the netizens found out that the flight was headed to Shizhou, there was an instant uproar. At the same time, the official media began to report on the situation in Shizhou. An unknown disease has appeared in Shizhou, and it's extremely contagious. Currently, a team of experts has rushed to the scene for a consultation. There was an uproar on the internet. In particular, some malicious marketing accounts began to spread rumors, causing everyone to be in a state of panic. Spicy Tutu's fans linked the clues together, but they were all dumbfounded. Sister, he actually went to such a dangerous place. As fans, their first reaction was to worry about Xianxi's safety. Boo-hoo, Mei, are you silly? She clearly didn't have to go. Xiang, you must take good care of herself. I'm crying. However, the haters were still going on about it. She could just go with Western medicine doctors. Why would she go with traditional Chinese medicine doctors? What the hell? Can traditional Chinese medicine doctors treat infectious diseases? They can just use some ointment to fool people. Don't embarrass yourself at such a critical moment. The people who are going are all professionals and seniors in the industry. Their qualifications and medical skills are guaranteed. Xianxia is just a 20-year-old kid. What can she do? Nowadays, there were many netizens, and their qualities were mixed. All kinds of opinions were emerging. A person's tolerance in life was very high, but the strange thing was that on the internet, it was very easy to ignite and explode. Under this Weibo post, the netizens had their own opinions and were arguing fiercely. The ones who felt the most aggrieved were the spicy Tutu girls. They were being chased and scolded for defending Xianxia. They couldn't understand why someone would be so hostile towards Xianxia even though they were separated by the internet. Appearance, personality, age, ability, everything could become a black mark. Many people were disheartened. At this moment, suddenly, someone forwarded this Weibo post, and there was more than one person. Yin Nai, believe in the medical angel. Believe in sister. Xiangyi V, Jiang Chun V. Greetings to every defying traveler. Sister and everyone else must return safely. In Xianxia V, God bless Shizhou. Little Xiangyi, Annie will wait for you. Yin Kai Kai V. Everyone has worked hard. Xiangyi V. Sister E will wait for you to come back and resell the goods together. Fuji and V. Sister E, you're doing well. Jiang Jujiu V. Aw, baby, do you know how much you've eaten? If you dare to starve and lose weight, I won't acknowledge you as my sister. Among the reviewers, there was one person who was the crudest and wildest. Rong Huai V. The maggots in the comments are scolding you. If you have what it takes, come and fight me. Damn it. Chapter 636. The young man in front of the screen was typing so hard that his phone seemed to be smashed. Whenever he saw someone scolding Xianxia, he would scold them back. The young man's eyebrows were high, making his eyes seem particularly deep, but at this moment, his eyes were bloodshot. She was such a nice, warm, and bright girl. He would never allow those filthy people to tarnish her name. They were not worthy. Rong Huai's repost was too powerful. The spicy Tutu fans seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. Protect my brother Rong Huai. It's not good for your brother to swear. It's soft, but it feels so good. Foreign language professional report. Chinese, English, German, Italian, and French curses have been privately shared. Brother, let's go. I'm an unknown rapper, but I'm willing to lend you a hand. Brother, at me if you can't scold me. I'll give you a few lines. With everyone's support, the haters' confusing comments were gradually drowned out. The netizens sighed with emotion. Xiangyi's popularity was too good. Almost everyone who had worked with her before stood up for her. Her charisma was unparalleled. However, there are also some people who focused on something else. Why isn't Xiangyi's family speaking up for her? Aren't all of you guys usually known to dote on your sister? Where are all of you now? Also, Shui didn't repost the post. Are they breaking up as soon as the official announcement is made? The netizens were dumbfounded. That seemed to be the case. That was strange. Could it be that her brothers were all busy? Or did they have some conflict with Xiangyi? As for Shui, as her boyfriend, how could he not post on Weibo to support his girlfriend? He was too unqualified. All of a sudden, apart from discussing the situation in Shi province, the most popular topic was criticizing Xiangyi's brother and Shui. At 4:30 a.m., the lights in the conference room were as bright as day. Old Master Fong was already old, and he was really weak. He either closed his eyes and rested for a while, or was barely holding on because he was in poor condition. The most awake person present was Xiangxia. She had been listening in at the beginning, but now she seemed to have the courage to lead the entire situation. However, her aura and expression were not fierce. On the contrary, she was gentle and calm. He was also very courteous to the seniors. In discussing the problems of the medical profession, he had even displayed his amazing ability. At first, some of the experts who had looked down on her nodded their heads one after another. It was obvious that they admired her. Regarding the herbs I mentioned just now, there are a few prescriptions in the ancient book Hui Rant's notes on plants that can be used as evidence. Someone questioned, I've never heard of this book before. Little girl, are you sure? Elder Fong's eyes lit up. What a coincidence. I have a handwritten copy at home. I'll have someone send it over right away. You don't have to go through so much trouble. I have a copy here. Xianxia lowered her eyes and operated the tablet for a while before projecting it onto the screen in the room. I directly searched for the relevant pages. You can use them as a reference. The experts first discussed the problem of medicinal herbs. During the break, they praised Xianxia while drinking tea. It's still the brains of young people. It's really convenient now that technology is so advanced. It's not like in the past where we could only flip through books one by one. In the corner, Xianxia leaned against the wall and closed her eyes to fall asleep so that she could adjust her state of mind. What she didn't know was that all the big shots in the room were looking at her with love and tenderness. Little girl, have you acknowledged a master? What? You've acknowledged 3? Then there's not much difference between 3 and 30. Why don't he? Chapter 637. At the end of the night, it was dawn. As the sky began to brighten, the Xiang clan's estate was quiet. In the cat bed, Xiao Naofu opened its eyes, yawned lazily, and snuggled into little Shiji's arms. Woof, woof. Little Shiji licked it a few times before falling asleep again. Xiao Naofu looked out sleepily. Shui was sitting beside the coffee table by the floor-to-ceiling window with a book on her lap. Xiao Naofu tilted its head in puzzlement and thought, "This book, was it on this page last night?" Shui hadn't slept all night and had some stubble on his chin, making him look inexplicably dejected. Hey, this dog of a man has such an expression. Xiao Naofu jumped out of the cat's nest and lazily walked over to Shui's feet with its thick, round legs. It grabbed Shui's trousers and skillfully jumped onto his lap, tilting its head curiously. Meow. Shui didn't respond. Xiao Naofu meowed a few times before Shui slowly came back to his senses. His voice was hoarse and full of fatigue. Xiao Naofu patted his arm and rubbed its belly, indicating that the dog of a man could serve food now. Hungry. Shui rubbed the back of the cat's neck perfunctorily and got up to pour some cat food into its bowl. Xiangfeng was the one who bought the cat food, which was said to be a royal brand in the world of cat food. The expensive price corresponded to the unparalleled deliciousness. However, Xiao Naofu's appetite had long been spoiled by Xianxia, and it didn't fancy such dry cat food at all. It acted coquettishly and pointed at the door of Xiangxi's room. If there were outsiders present, their jaws would probably drop in shock. This cat has probably become a spirit. Shui accepted it very well and said softly, "She's not back yet." Xiao Naofu's eyes widened. What? That stupid woman didn't come home at night, and it's already daybreak. Atrocious. It tried to contact Xianxia through the chat channel, only to discover that it seemed to have been blocked. Xiao Naofu realized that something was wrong, and his first reaction was to tell Shui. But, sensing Shui's unusual aura, it hesitated. He was the stupid woman's boyfriend, but that didn't mean he was trustworthy. There must be some secret hidden in Shui. After all, Xiao Naofu had a low IQ and a simple mind. It bounced onto the sofa and turned on the tablet. Fortunately, Xiangxi's WeChat account was still logged in. While Shui was in the yard, it swiped the screen and made a video call to Xiangyu. Nothing happened. The internet addict had no morning. It tried calling Xiang Li and Xianxia, but no one picked up and the other was hung up. Xiao Naofu scratched its head and locked its eyes on the account of third brother Xiangqi. After a moment of hesitation, it used its little paw to press the call button. Ding, ding, ding. Xiangqi busied himself through the night and finally managed to personally make a piece of haute couture clothing. He was so tired that he collapsed on the sofa and fell asleep. Everyone in the studio was used to seeing his designs, but they were still inevitably shocked. His assistant, Roman, knelt on the ground, as if he was the most devout believer worshipping the gods. "This is God's will, a miracle," he muttered to himself, and suddenly heard Xiangqi's phone ring. Although his Chinese was not good, he still recognized the word sister on the screen. Worried that it might be an emergency, he pressed the answer button. "Good morning, Miss Xiang," Roman greeted clumsily. What responded to him was a series of hurried meows. Chapter 638. Roman slowly typed a question mark. When Xiao Naofu saw that the person who answered the phone was not Xiangqi, but a foreigner with green eyes and yellow hair, he became even more anxious. Meow. Meow meow meow. Tell Xianxia to pick up this who's call meow. Unfortunately, not everyone's understanding could compare to Shui's. Roman didn't understand what Xiao Naofu was saying at all, but humans had different joys and sorrows. But there was no human in this world who didn't like kittens. Nothing. Oh God, this cute little kitty. Sapphires are not as bright as your eyes, and your claws have been kissed by God. Roman unconsciously used his mother tongue, and a series of praises flowed out. Xiao Naofu couldn't understand what he was saying and anxiously roared like a tiger. Oh. Roman instantly lost the ability to speak. Ah! Xiao Naofu. Stupid humans, they're so annoying. His chubby little paw accidentally touched the voice message that Xianxia had sent earlier, and the girl's sweet voice was playing. Brother, I sent you something delicious. Take care of your body and don't tire yourself out. Roman didn't understand and stared at Xiao Naofu in the video. Xiao Naofu's head drooped listlessly. He was about to give up on contacting the stupid woman's brother when his phone was suddenly snatched away by a pair of large hands. Younger sister? His gorgeous and languid voice was bewitching. Whoosh! Xiao Naofu's ears perked up as it meowed wildly. Xianxia frowned. You fat cat, do you have nothing better to do after eating? Xiao Naofu. What did you say? Who's fat aim? This ho-hoo is not fat. This ho-hoo is not meow. The little fellow was so angry that he wanted to hang up the phone, but when he thought of Xiangyi's unknown situation, it typed with its furry paws, frowny-faced stupid woman is in danger. Xianxia thought that someone was playing a prank on him. He didn't even think that Xiao Naofu could type. Who's so bored? He muttered softly. And who's that stupid woman? Xiao Naofu angrily replied. Your sister? Xiangyi. Xianxia cursed loudly, without a trace of his image as a top international designer. Bullsh *T. How is my sister stupid? My sister is the smartest and cutest girl in the world. They were from the same family, but why was there such a huge difference in their IQs? On Xiao Naofu's immature face, a look of vicissitudes emerged. The tablet was suddenly tapped twice by a pair of bony hands. Xiao Naofu looked up and saw that it was Shui who had forwarded a piece of news to Xianxia. What to do? The D*M man had discovered her secret. Little did they know that Shui was very calm. Sister, you will be in danger? Tell me, what happened? Huh? Xiao Naofu pretended to be innocent and blinked. Meow. What are you talking about? This hoo-hoo doesn't understand. You could trust me. Shui rubbed his eyebrows and said casually, otherwise, you would have been cooked into a cat meat hot pot or sent to a research institute to be dissected. Xiao Naofu continued to pretend. Shui stared at it for a few seconds and suddenly smiled. Are you afraid that I'll know your secret? Meow. This hoo-hoo and this stupid woman have no secrets. Transmigrating to another world? Shui's few words were earth-shattering, leaving Xiao Naofu dumbfounded. How did he know? Shui picked it up and scrutinized it for a few seconds before speaking in an indifferent tone. In the past year, I've met more than one fast transmigrator. Chapter 639. Meow? Meow meow. Xiao Naofu was shocked. How could this be? The world that Xianxia was in was obviously a very ordinary and safe plane. In the rating of the fast-traversing world, it belonged to the relatively low kind. Such a world, whether in terms of logic or energy, couldn't accommodate frequent transmigrations. Shui calmly pressed Xiao Naofu in front of the tablet. Type. Xiao Naofu hesitated. Shui, why don't you speak human language? Xiao Naofu, you can't even speak human language? There was a hint of disdain. Xiao Naofu, F***CKU. The kitten had an expression that said, this hoo-hoo can't stand this grievance, but it reluctantly typed on the screen with its paws. Even though she was mentally prepared, Shui still raised her eyebrows when she saw the kitten's proficient typing. However, this time, there was no barrier to communication between the two. Xiao Naofu, can I trust you, dogman? Shui, huh? Dogman? Xiao Naofu! Exclamation point. Oh no, I accidentally typed out my inner thoughts. The kitten guiltily deleted the last 3 words and went against its conscience to type the words hottie. The man's low and sultry laughter came from above. You can choose not to believe that I won't cook you into a cat meat hot pot, but you can believe that I will never hurt Sister E. The man's tone was indifferent, but there was no room for negotiation. I swear on my life. Sweet words. However, after spending so much time with Shui, Xiao Naofu could see his feelings for Xiangyi. After hesitating for a few seconds, Xiao Naofu began to type and slowly describe the situation. It took about half an hour. Shui sorted out all the clues and frowned. So, she has a system in her subconsciousness now. Xiao Naofu nodded. Shui tapped his fingers on the table in an even rhythm. Suddenly, he paused. He searched on his phone and handed the screen to Xiao Naofu. The Qin Wanyan you mentioned, is it this woman? Xiao Naofu. Meow. Didn't this woman come to the manor before? How could this D***Min man not remember what she looked like? Shui dialed a number and gave a simple instruction. His deep and cold voice made people's hearts palpitate for no reason. I want to see her. At 7:30 a.m., the morning news began. It is reported that all the close contacts have been tracked down. In addition, the team of experts has already come up with a response plan. I hope that the people of the Western continent will work together to overcome the difficulties. Good news. Countless people were encouraged and immediately felt that this was not a big deal. They should continue to watch the show. In a certain rented apartment, when the unshaven man woke up, the first thing he did was to grab his phone sleepily. When he saw the latest situation in Shizhou, he felt a pang of anxiety. If the incident ended just like that, how could he continue to gain popularity? Seeing that the article he wrote yesterday had very few views, the man scratched his feet in annoyance and moved his face to touch his itchy nose a few times. Suddenly, he had an idea. What the netizens wanted to see was the truth. Not necessarily. As long as the entry point was tricky enough and the gimmick was eye-catching enough, the truth of the incident did not matter. The man sat up and first sent himself a private message on his private account, then quickly typed on Weibo, online celebrity Diapi only V. I received a fan's contribution from the Western continent. She's a medical staff member and heard that Xiangyi has been ostracized by the big shots in the team of experts. Chapter 640. Below the Weibo post, there was a picture of a private message. Mr. Pippi, I'm here to contribute to your blog. Give me a thick password. Didn't the incident in Shizhou blow up recently? I'm a local medical staff, but I won't go into detail. Didn't a group of experts come over? The big shots of Western medicine from all over the country, including respiratory and infectious diseases. Many of the leading figures in Chinese medicine have also come, all of whom are difficult to hire even for powerful businessmen. What surprised me the most was that there was a celebrity in the group of experts. Forgive me for being blunt, but aren't celebrities just entertainers? Sneaking into such a group of experts is really an insult to the efforts of the experts, and it's also a betrayal of the trust that the public has in the experts. However, what I'm happy to see is that the group of experts are very disdainful of her. After all, she's young and incompetent. She's also very funny and always wants to be in the limelight. She loves to show off in front of the experts. The experts didn't say anything for the sake of her grandfather, but her behavior is really disgusting. Of course, this so-called submission was not self-directed and self-acted by him. He tagged a few trending hashtags and then posted it on Weibo. He then used a few other accounts to repost it. He had been running Weibo for a long time, and each account had at least 100,000 followers. Several accounts jointly reposted it, and because it was tagged with a trending hashtag, the amount of exposure instantly increased. As he had expected, this entry point was really tricky. It was peak hour at this time, and the traffic was astonishing. When the netizens saw this Weibo post, they were slightly relieved, but their anger was ignited again. I vomited. I knew this would happen. What kind of behavior is this? I think she's more like a B***TCH. The experts are ostracizing her. Is she worthy? I think she's the one harassing the experts. They're working so hard to save lives and heal the injured, but she's great. Does she think she's there to perform on stage? I strongly suggest kicking Xianxia out of the group of experts. What if she affected the mood of the experts by leaving her inside? Why is she getting involved in a matter of life and death? She's simply disregarding human life. There are even some who directly copied and pasted a sentence in Xianxia V, are human blood buns tasty? Looking at the angry faces of the netizens, Skinner smiled triumphantly in front of the screen. His account had a function that allowed him to monetize his traffic. The number of clicks on his advertisements and the tips from his fans were all his sources of income. In short, the more people who read his Weibo, the more money he could earn. This time, it could be said that he had earned a lot. The spicy tutu girls held the principle of believing in Xianxia. They all expressed that they did not believe in rumors and did not spread rumors. They were very calm. What kind of storms have they not seen before? It was just a small scene. Peace was enough. However, the fans of several popular actresses took the opportunity to add insult to injury. They couldn't wait for Xianxia to disappear. Wow, how does it feel to have your house collapse? I bet 50 cents that within 3 days, Xianxia will become a paste. Her family doesn't dote on her, her boyfriend doesn't love her, and she's even hated by others. Ayaya. Her charming image really collapses just like that. The netizens mocked him mercilessly. At 8 o'clock sharp, the official media suddenly posted on Weibo. Nancheng Daily V. Thank you to the ethnic entrepreneurs and individuals of Nanching for your monetary and material donations. Love is boundless. Please pass it on. There's a long list of people who were at the top of the list. They were none other than Xiangyi's uncle, and Shui. Chapter 641. Shui Shiguang Studio donated 50 million yuan. Sangqin Linshan Law Firm donated 50 million yuan. Xiangli Nanchang Biomedical Research Institute donated 40 million yuan and medical supplies. Xiangqi Hades Design Studio donated 30 million yuan and women's products. Xiangyu Logic Esports Team donated 30 million yuan and food supplies. The amazing amount of donations instantly caused an uproar on the internet. Oh my god, Xiangyi's brothers are so amazing. Shui is so caring, sob. I thought he was cold and aloof, but I didn't expect him to be such a gentle person. Am I the only one who noticed Uncle Xiangfeng? He donated 100 million yuan. 100 million yuan. Wow, I'm so impressed. How dare you treat the domineering CEO as if he's invisible? So far, the Xiang family and Shui had not made any comments on social media, but they had taken action to support the Shizhou area. On the other hand, many celebrities and internet celebrities had only spoken out but not done anything substantial. The netizens were suddenly enlightened and sobered up. Their family has donated more than the entire entertainment industry combined. I'm asking, who else? Do those who said that Xiangyi's family and boyfriend didn't do anything feel embarrassed? They've been slapped in the face so quickly, like a tornado. Although celebrities and internet celebrities have no obligation to donate, and we shouldn't criticize or condemn them, we must praise the Xiang family's brothers and Shui. That way, we won't disappoint those who truly want to do charity. Hey, you guys forgot about the domineering CEO uncle again. Xiangfeng. It's a story about 6 people, but I'm the only one who doesn't deserve to have a name. The netizens laughed and joked about Xiangfeng being ignored. Soon, there were all kinds of jokes and emojis. The spicy tutu fans also found a strong point to counterattack. What? Our tutu's image has collapsed, and they didn't do anything? Are you kidding me? Please, our tutu is on the front line of the fight against the epidemic, okay? What? Our tutu's brother and boyfriend didn't do anything? Are you kidding me? Open your eyes and look at the world. Do you really think that the hundreds of millions of donations and supplies are fake? By the way, your housekeeper didn't donate a single cent. She must be having a hard time. Come on. Continue to work hard as a worker in the entertainment industry. Our tutu is outstanding. She also has a family that dotes on her and a boyfriend that dotes on her. I'm going to piss you off. The opposing fans, F***CK. Even if we can't afford to offend them, can't we just hide? How the F***CK Is this black? Only those who had been instigated by the internet celebrity peeler were still insisting that Xianxia had been ostracized. In their eyes, seeing was believing. They had seen the screenshot of the submission with their own eyes. As for whether the news was true or false, and how much was true or false, they didn't care at all. Some of them had nothing better to do and even mocked him in a sarcastic manner. This is probably the mentality of the more you lack something, the more you want to show it off. A certain female celebrity has embarrassed herself in the group of experts, so she has to make up for it in other ways. Ha ha ha. Have you forgotten about the human blood steam buns? Do you think the internet has no memory? At this moment, on the news channel of Shizhou TV station, the host and the reporter connected to the scene and live-streamed the situation of the group of experts to the public. It's break time now. We can see that the experts are, the reporter was in a trance. Fighting to take in disciples. Chapter 642. The host was obviously stunned for a second, but he managed to maintain his composure. Smiling politely, he said, "What a surprise. I didn't expect the experts to have such a scene. I believe the audience in front of the screen must be as curious as I am. Who is the disciple that the experts are vying to accept?" The reporter said, "I'm afraid you won't believe it, but it's a young girl in her early 20s. The cameraman at the scene changed the camera angle and shot a panoramic view. The slender and fair young girl was surrounded by a group of experts who were of the same age as her grandparents. They finally had some time to rest, but not only did they not make use of this precious time to rest, they were even more hostile than when they were discussing her condition just now. Xianxia, traditional Chinese medicine is good, but Western medicine isn't bad either. Come, learn respiratory medicine from me. Don't listen to his nonsense. The infectious diseases department is the best. Forget it. She's a good seedling for traditional Chinese medicine. Why are you Western medicine experts? Try get her. That's not how you poach people." The young girl looked confused, and her long eyelashes fluttered. Does she have the halo of wanting to accept her as a disciple as soon as they meet her? The crowd was arguing incessantly, and the reporters and cameraman were in a mess. The host was dumbfounded. "No, you experts can get any kind of student or disciple you want. But why are you all trying to accept Xianxia as your disciple?" The reporter came back to his senses and stepped forward to shove the microphone in front of Xianxia. "Miss Xiang, tell us how you feel now." Xianxia said, I'm quite confused." "Miss Xiang, do you have a favorite teacher?" The reporter was eager to stir up trouble. "Which expert's disciple would you like to be?" In an instant, the eyes of the experts were as sharp as knives as they shot daggers at the reporters. Xianxia answered humbly and politely, "Everyone here can be my teacher. Be it medical skills or other aspects, I still have a lot to learn from my seniors." The young girl's answer was appropriate and obedient, and the experts liked her very much. Everyone was looking at her kindly, as if they were looking at their own child. "What if you have to choose one?" The reporter continued to stir up trouble. Xianxia blinked and said, "Actually, I've already chosen 3, the reporter." Elder Fong, Elder Yun, and Elder Jing smiled faintly. "I am her great master. I am not talented, but I am the second master of my beloved disciple. I am the third master of my obedient disciple. Do you have a problem with that?" The reporter was dumbfounded. Before coming here, he had also learned about the lives of these big shots. The president of the Wuxia Traditional Chinese Medicine Association, the heir of the Huichun Hall Medical Hall, and the chief master of the Jishir Hall Medical Hall were all divine doctors of traditional Chinese medicine. But Xianxia actually bowed 3 times in one go. Unexpectedly, in the next second, the others were unhappy. "You 3 old fogies, you're just the early bird that got here first. She has already acknowledged 3 masters. What's wrong with acknowledging a few more? In my opinion, traditional Chinese medicine is the body and Western medicine is the application. The combination of traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine is the best choice." Reporter, ? The host, ? Where? Was this a recruitment event or a large-scale cabbage-picking event? Could it be that the big shots in the medical field in the country were all picked by Xianxia to be her disciple? At this moment, Elder Fong said leisurely, "Only children make choices. My dear disciple, you might as well choose all of them." Chapter 643. Xianxia was speechless. She had an innocent look on her face, as she didn't expect things to turn out this way. However, the other experts agreed. I don't mind. Yes, yes, yes. We'll just accept her together. We'll combine Chinese and Western medicine, extract the essence, and discard the dross. We'll use modern scientific methods to verify the scientificity and accuracy of the two types of medicine. That's the only way we won't waste a good seedling. Xianxia said, Seniors, young lady, it's too rushed today. I'll give you a gift later. One of the experts yelled, and the others immediately expressed that they must prepare a gift for Xianxia. The atmosphere at the scene was joyous and harmonious. Everyone was immersed in the joy of receiving their little disciple, which relieved a lot of their stress and fatigue. Xianxia was calm and composed, which was rare for him to not throw a tantrum. In fact, he knew in his heart that on one hand, these experts were teasing him, but on the other hand, they really thought highly of Xianxia. Perhaps my tutu will have great achievements in medicine. As her grandfather, I just need to pave the way for her. She'll have to walk her own path in the future. The reporter said in a trance. This is the situation at the scene, host. The host said in confusion. Okay. This segment of the report was live-streamed by the TV station and was seen by countless viewers. Some commenters immediately edited the video and posted it on various social media platforms. The netizens clicked on it to take a look. All of them. I was dumbfounded on the spot. How can you become a disciple in such a way? Haha. Some people who ridiculed Xianxia for being ostracized by the experts are hilarious. She's clearly the favorite of everyone. This scene also became a must-have video in the annual Face-Slapping Moments video collection. Meanwhile, the netizens who heard that Xianxia loved to be in the limelight and was ostracized were dumbfounded. This. Why is this completely different from what we imagined? The attitude of the person involved was the best way to clarify things. The rumors were dispelled on their own. The public opinion was reversed. The netizens began to question whether the fan submissions of the Internet Celebrity Peeler account were real or fake. This is clearly a baseless rumor. To be honest, anyone who can come into contact with the team of experts would probably have to sign a confidentiality agreement. How could they expose this online? If he really hated Xianxia, why would he be willing to accept her as his disciple? Regardless of whether it's medicine or any other industry, they won't accept disciples casually. Okay? On the other hand, the spicy tutu girls were very peaceful. Unlike the fans of other families who would spread rumors with their mouths but do everything they could to refute them, Spicy Tutu's fans were very Buddhist. Slandering our sister, Sure, do whatever you want. If we don't slap Blackie's face swollen, it'll be our loss. Seeing that the situation had taken a turn for the worse, the Spicy Tutu fans started spamming emojis of lotus flowers and world peace. Who would have thought that their actions would go out of the entertainment circle? The fans were all amused by Spicy Tutu's actions. Haha, Xianxia's fans are funnier than her. I've never seen such a lazy fan. Are you a bunch of middle-aged men? Have some self-awareness and go fight. What kind of treasure is this fan? The emojis are so cute. Can I join Spicy Tutu on the spot? Just send me more emojis? At the same time, Shui stepped into Nanxing Mental Hospital. Chapter 644. It was summer in Southern City, and the temperature was scorching hot. However, perhaps it was because of the greenery in the hospital. The moment she entered, she felt the temperature drop by a few degrees. Please sign the visitor's registration form. The girl at the front desk recognized Shui and couldn't help but take a few more glances. The man was tall and well-proportioned, with broad shoulders and long legs. He wore a black silk shirt, looking casual and casual. The gold-rimmed glasses softened the sharpness in the man's eyes. Every inch of his face seemed to be softened by a filter. When he lowered his eyes to sign, his black eyelashes cast a faint shadow. His hand was cursive, and his strokes were strong. Done. He pushed the form back. This way, please. The mental hospital was privately operated, and the service was excellent. The nurse led the way for Shui, and they arrived in front of a ward. This is Miss Qin Wanyan's ward. If you need anything, just press the bell. Shui nodded in thanks. After the nurse left, he raised his hand and knocked twice on the door. The door was pulled open, revealing a haggard face. Qin Wenyan was no longer as beautiful as before. Her hair, which had been permed and dyed too many times, was no longer cared for. It was as messy as weeds, and the ends of her hair had faded to an ugly yellow. She had lost a lot of weight. When she saw Shui, her eyes shone brightly. Shui. She was surprised and overjoyed. Then, she asked carefully, Are you here to save me? The man was calm. Good morning, Miss Qin. You must be here to save me. Qin Wanyan tried to grab Shui's wrist, but the man evaded her. She missed, but she wasn't discouraged. She begged humbly, Please save me. I'm not crazy. I'm really not. I'm just locked up here. Ever since she suggested to the system to let Xianxia complete the mission, everything had changed. She was no longer the chosen one who was about to transmigrate. Instead, she had become an exile from the system. Her career was ruined, and her family and friends had all fallen out with her. She could feel her life slipping away. Every time she woke up, she seemed to have aged a few years. However, that wasn't the scariest thing. The scary thing was that everyone in this building was mentally ill. For example, there would be all kinds of strange noises in the corridor every night. For example, the patient next door would suddenly knock on her door and let out a strange laugh. Qin Wanyan was about to go crazy from the double torture of her body and mind. Shui said, Let's talk. If you can give me the information I want, I'll consider helping you. A few minutes later, in the garden of the hospital, Qin Wanyan was wrapped in a thick knitted coat and a blue and white hospital gown. She trembled and said, Do you know? I'm a fast transmigrator, the kind that allows one to travel to another world. Two patients were taking a walk passed by. Someone laughed and laughed. Look, she's mentally ill. Another person licked his lollipop. Yeah, he's pretty sick. Qin Wanyan, is there anything more ironic than being called a lunatic by a lunatic? She smiled bitterly. Forget it. I know you won't believe me. Unexpectedly, the man said lightly, I believe you. Qin Wanyan! Exclamation point. Her eyes were filled with ecstasy, like a drowning person who had caught the last straw. Really? Shui looked at her, his eyes especially gentle under the warm sunlight. Yes. Qin Wanyan sobbed. The system is a liar. Everything is a scam. Chapter 645. She was overjoyed, like a drowning person who had found her last life-saving straw. Really? Shui looked at her, his eyes especially gentle under the warm sunlight. Yes. Qin Wanyan sobbed. The system is a liar. It's all a scam. Unexpectedly, the man said calmly, I believe you. Qin Wanyan was speechless. An hour later, Qin Wanyan was crying her eyes out. Shui was indifferent and had no intention of giving her a tissue or a handkerchief. Qin Wanyan was speechless. Why did she always run into such iron-willed men? I've arranged a sanatorium for you. But before that, please come with me. Qin Wanyan nodded frantically. As long as Shui could save her, she was willing to do anything. As for the unspoken rules, if Shui wanted to sleep with her, she would be more than willing. The man didn't take her back to the manor, but to Xing Chun Entertainment. Even if Xianxia didn't know, he had arranged for 2 cars, one in front and one at the back, to avoid being in a confined space with any woman. Seeing a familiar figure, he gestured for the driver to stop by the roadside. He got out of the car and walked to the side of the road. Before he could say anything, Xiang Feng shouted from the tree, You came at the right time. Shui, give me a plastic bag. There are so many peaches, it's a pity not to pick them all. Xiang Feng's special assistant, who was dressed in a suit and leather shoes, was standing next to him, but at this moment, he looked like he was about to collapse. Why was their domineering CEO so rustic? He climbed trees faster than a monkey. He couldn't stop him no matter how hard he tried. Shui raised his eyebrows. If I remember correctly, this is a green fruit tree. So, the green fruit tree is for viewing, not for you to climb up and pick. After a pause, Shui added, Of course, to put it simply, these peaches don't taste good. Xianfeng was speechless for a few seconds, then silently slid down from the tree. He muttered softly, "Why didn't you say so earlier? I'm itching to death." Suddenly, Qin Wanyan got out of the car and met Xiangfeng's gaze. "Xiangfeng, oh, is this your grandmother? Why does it look different from before?" To Qin Wanyan, these words are like a knife stabbing into her heart. Shi Sui turned to Qin Wanyan and asked, "No reaction?" Qin Wanyan shook her head. "No. From that day onwards, the system disappeared." However, this did not mean that it had given up on her. Instead, it was slowly erasing her soul. It was like a wild beast that had caught its prey and was not in a hurry to eat it. Instead, it was slowly toying with it, watching its prey suffer, go mad, collapse, and despair. Shi Sui pondered for a moment and asked the driver to send her away. Xiangfeng asked dumbly, "What are you two doing? Why do you keep saying things I don't understand?" Shi Sui did not answer, but asked, "Have any strange people approached you recently?" Xiangfeng rubbed his chin and thought for a while, then said, "No." The assistant on the side reminded him appropriately, "Mr. Xiang, the college student who tried to blackmail you this morning, the clerk who poured coffee on you last night, and the waiter who crawled under your bed in the hotel. I think they're all quite strange." Xiangfeng, "Ha ha ha, don't you think they're fun? Don't panic. Take a picture and post it on your WeChat moments to entertain my good friends." The assistant, Shi Sui, smiled faintly. "So many people.